things I do for Monarch.
Wouldn't have made it this far without you.
Our day at the office.
Like the sign says, he's a hard man for hard times. And by he, I mean me.
Oh, I don't want to lecture you. I just want to snap your fucking neck.
You better quit it, mister! There'll be consequences! Oh!
You heard it up top. We are back once more with a special one. It's been 10. You know what that means. We're going to talk about what we're watching, what we're liking, what we're enjoying, and just what's making us normies right now here on Normies Like Us with your hosts, just Colin.
Just Mike.
Mm.
And just Baby New Year, Jacob. Still the new year.
Yeah,
February.
still the new year.
February, I guess. Yep. You know, New Year, same tears. We're out here. But everyone's staying dry. Where we're at in California this time of year has been
Yeah, it's
pretty
been
rainy.
been Noah's flood out here, right?
Yeah.
Building the Ark.
This is our Noah's
Try
Ark
not to get
episode.
washed away.
That's right. 2 of each animal. Yeah, that'll be that. But hopefully we're staying safe. I lost power yesterday, so hopefully we'll make it through this episode.
Oh, wow.
Great.
It was pretty late at night, but either way, stay safe, stay
Yeah.
dry, everybody. Anybody listening,
right.
I'm
I
feeling
haven't lost power,
sick.
but
Man,
yeah, I've just been
Fucking
under the
sucks right
weather
now.
a bit, and it's just been so cold and rainy that I've just been down in the dumps a little bit.
yeah,
You
but
got the
you know,
sad.
luckily
Got
hitting a
sad.
milestone like this, though, it's one bright
Yeah.
spot of the week, being able to
We're
talk to you
getting-
guys.
281.
Like I say, guys, here's our question for up top. Are you getting nervous with 300 being so close?
Oh, sure. That's like
Yes.
2 watches from now.
And I know it's going to be the Gerard Butler special, right?
That's right. We're, of course,
More
going
Zack
to
Snyder.
cover the film 300.
300.
Finally. We
Yeah.
love our Zack movies on this podcast.
That's right.
We're going to watch a
But-
double feature, 300 and Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver.
Not the
The
300
Scar
sequel, not 301.
No.
We're-
301, that's what it's called.
Yeah. Now you see me, now you don't, now you 3 weeks. That kind of thing, like we were saying
Yeah.
off pod. But yeah, another Watch It 280. It is wild thinking that it's 280. I'd have to do the math by the next watch or by then. We'll see how many hours of content we've
Yeah.
created for.
Yeah.
Probably
I
like
always,
Almost 1,000.
at least,
Yeah.
But just real quick, I'll say up top, hey, thanks for still listening. We love if you guys do. 281 of these. I mean, that to me, again, the way that I view these is when we eventually get Alzheimer's, this will be such a delight for me to sit down and be like, that Colin Brooks sounds like such a nice young man. Listen to all his interesting opinions. That's what this podcast is to me. So the fact that we have like 281 of these conversations between us, I'll treasure that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a cool kind of chronicling, almost like the way you guys do your letterboxes. It's kind of cool to go back and be like, what was the temperature, on that
Right.
particular item at the time? How were we feeling? So it's
Right,
always
that's
cool.
exactly why I do it. And I just like that we've stayed committed to doing it every week for the most part, skipping some holidays and such like
Yeah.
that. But we've been committed to putting these out regularly, and I like that I can commit to something. That
Yes.
All I
makes me
have.
feel that I've
It's a
accomplished
little-
something.
a little bit of
Yeah.
structure in your life. Exactly. Same
Yeah.
here.
Put
but
on a
we-
resume. What do you do? Well, every week I show up. I talk to my friends. Hey,
Yeah.
good work.
once a week. But no, yeah, we've really very rarely missed a week. We even plan ahead and we'll record extra, So yeah, it's been a fun 280. So getting to 300,
Absolutely.
just what a lifespan. So as you guys know, all current listeners who've been around, this is a Whatcha. Normally we do it on the 10s, but we had a dead man's chest to deal with last time, in accordance with all seafaring laws. So we bumped it to 281, and I
Yeah,
think
we checked the
that's just
pirate
fine.
code, and
Yeah.
it said we had to do it or we would be shot by Keith Richards. So
Originally,
That's right.
Mr. Gibbs said they were like guidelines, but then they were like, whoa, no, there's a whole code and it's very serious now. So we were a little
Yeah.
bit confused, so we had to shift it over. But I didn't want to walk the plank,
Right.
So, but we're free-forming it. This is the Watch It, kind of the errata, the things that weren't full episode worthy or maybe we didn't all check out together. That's,
yeah, where we ask
the deal.
ourselves, what you watching, what you playing, what you doing, what
Reading.
you reading.
I don't
I've been
read.
reading.
I've been reading. And maybe a special
been
segment
reading.
that I know nothing about. So we'll see what's in store here. But I know. Should we just jump into it, guys? Let's talk about what we've been watching first, and we'll kick it off to what we've been playing after that, and we'll catch you on the other side, normies.
We're back here on Normies Like Us. We're talking to Whatcha. We're gonna kick it off with Whatcha watching. What you watching, boys? Mike, what are you watching, buddy?
Well, I tell you what, I've been watching. My number one movie of the year was Godzilla -1. And recently they did the -1 color rerun of it in theaters for a limited time. So I did go see that with friend of the show, X Kaita. So that was a cool experience to kick off the Whatcha. Got to see Godzilla for the third time in theaters. The black and white was very cool. Some scenes more scary, but I think color is the better way to watch it because of his blue laser breath. But it was very cool because before I watched it that evening in the afternoon, I watched the original 1954 and did like kind of a black and white double feature.
Oh, dope, dog.
Yeah,
Wow.
we Godzilla'd it up. And there were some more references to the original that I didn't notice the first two times. So that was cool. Like I think they have the same motorcycle as the main character in -1 in the original. So there's like little nods like that. But they're very different films plot-wise, you know.
And also,
Mike.
I was just going to say Godzilla -1 being a period piece, it kind of takes place in the same time period as well. So it's...
Yeah, I felt like I could see those characters kind of working on they're just on another side of the city during the original almost. It's like they're almost could be happening in parallel, if not for the climaxes. But yeah,
right.
It's very cool. But
Mike, what's going on with that freaky little lizard on the island? I think about him quite a bit. The version of him that they see that is not the radiated yet version.
Yeah,
just the T-Rex, freaky deaky little boy. What's going on with him?
It's Godzuki.
What's he doing there?
This is Godzuki. I think so. That was just a native creature, like just a legendary. There is a weird monster creature that lives on Odo Island. The locals call it Godzilla, and it's just a thing. And it's directly explained that like that gets radiated by the Bikini Atoll testing, like thus America creating Godzilla that attacks Japan. But maybe it's a metaphor.
That's in
that
the
like,
original.
Yeah. Well, no, in the original,
I've never seen the original Godzilla.
They just have the tests happening, and then Godzilla's going on. But it is
no
Odo
freaky
Island.
little like pre-version of Captain America, Steve Rogers running around.
No,
like
it is like that.
Just like a skinny little lizard.
It's like a better version of Ferris Bueller's Godzilla, though. Like in look, it's almost similar in posture to that one.
Yeah.
So it's like they took a run at that and just did it better.
Weird.
Yeah.
Metaphorically, maybe it's like we had monsters already to deal with in this country, but we were working on, but America did the nuke. Like I don't know if there's a metaphor with it already existing, and then this is a bigger problem now. I don't know, but liked it. And then on top of that, I guess just a lot of Godzilla happening because I finally watched the Apple TV Plus Monarch Legacy of Monsters with Kurt and Wyatt Russell playing the same character.
The Russell Boys.
The Russell Boys. Father and son.
Playing the same character, different time periods. I do like that.
Big
Even
money
though Wyatt
wrestlers.
Russell doesn't look that much like Kurt Russell.
Well, he looks like his mother's Goldie Hawn, Jacob. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Different color hair, different like build, kind of. I don't know, but I guess they could use makeup and whatnot to make it believable that they're the same character.
Yeah, and I like I like Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell generally. Pliskin and Big Trouble in Little China, and then I think as bad-ish as Falcon and the Winter Soldier was, I liked U.S. Agent a lot. Like as a character, he's not a good character. He's not a good person, but I liked his performance. I want that character back in the MCU. Like if the Thunderbolts exists again, I'm sick of superheroes, but I really liked Wyatt Russell's performance as U.S. Agent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just after seeing Godzilla minus color, -1 and all that, the MonsterVerse really is sad. Like in comparison, like it's inferior to Japanese Godzilla now.
TV budget, obviously, Apple TV. Are you seeing monsters? Do you see Godzilla?
There's 10 episodes. You see Godzilla maybe 3 times, and it's
okay.
The monsters are being spared. There's not. You see different monsters, but there's not like a monster every episode. It's not great shakes, I would say. Like honestly, I watched all 10 episodes, and it's It's fine. It kind of takes place in between 2014 and the 2017 King of Monsters, I guess.
Oh, gotta tie those beloved movies together, of
Yeah,
course.
But
and
it
there's like
flashbacks more to the Kong Skull
Skull
Island
Island
kind
era.
of stuff. Yeah, like the
Yeah.
70s.
So it's about like the formation of Monarch, and then like Kurt Russell's still doing hijinks because he was one of the people who created Monarch. He was like the U.S. military guy who was protecting the scientists who were starting Monarch. So he was with them
Right.
in the 70s, and then now he's like doing stuff in the present day with it. And it's like, it's interesting, but not good. Like if you like Godzilla stuff, but I just, I don't know. I'm kind of mid on it. But I do like the actress, I can't remember her name, but she plays Keiko, who started Monarch. There's like a whole time travel thing where if you're in the Hollow Earth, time passes slower for you. So like you could be down there for what felt like 50 days, but it's been 30
I
years.
was gonna literally say, so you're saying this ties together. So Wyatt Russell would be like, like 30, and this is the 50s, I would imagine. So wouldn't he be wouldn't Russell be like 100 years old now?
Yeah, he's like, there's again, it's a little timey. If you go into the Hollow Earth, your time passes slower for you. So he was down there for a little bit, so he's not as old as he should be,
Okay. A fascinating mythology to introduce into Godzilla franchise. Wow.
Yeah, because they have the Hollow Earth with the King Kong and Godzilla movie introduced, right? So this is about them discovering that, and like apparently the Titans just travel through portals and stuff. It's very silly, and it makes me not like the legendary Godzilla universe that much.
Well, going off the new trailer, it looks like they're continuing that mythology.
100%.
With King Kong versus Godzilla or whatever the new one's called.
I do think there's an inconsistency though with Godzilla versus King Kong because Skarsgård and them go down there for a bit, but the rest of the world doesn't age rapidly when they come back out. So I think they fucked
maybe
themselves.
They weren't down there long enough.
You could be down there for like 2 minutes. They were down there for one like 10 hours, and it was 2 years or something. So
what?
Look, I only have one question.
Well, one person was there for 60 days, and 30 years had passed. So that's the scale we're dealing with. It's like dog years.
I only have one question that I need the show to address, and that is, what's Millie Bobby Brown up to? What's she doing these days?
Doesn't exist in
under
it.
The earth, hopefully.
Yep. Well, no, but here's the greatest thing about
character.
this. You just get to see Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell create the company that allows Kyle Chandler to work at, which lets Millie Bobby Brown get involved with all this. So that's what we're here
I believe
for.
I referred to him in one episode we did, maybe the King of Monsters, as Godzilla's Commissioner Gordon.
yeah, definitely.
His role is very strange. Shine the Godzilla signal. We need Godzilla.
yeah, get him out of here. That just it's just they introduce a lot of characters that then aren't in the movies, so it's like this connective tissue doesn't need to exist. I don't know. It's
the Workaholics guy's in it. Anders Holm, I think, right?
He's one of the.
I think he's playing the John Goodman, I believe, character from Skull Island. The younger version, I think, is him. Or
that is incorrect.
Okay.
John Goodman's character throws some secret tapes into the ocean when he's going to die on Skull Island or something. He's like, I got this footage out, do something right. And then that's a separate character.
Wow.
He's with Wyatt Russell and Keiko, and they're creating like
I just know that
there's
a younger version of that character or something in the
right.
show. I haven't seen it though, so more.
Yeah, anyway, I think I've talked too much about it, but that's all I've been watching. Godzilla stuff.
You don't like. I have a lot of questions about it. Though.
I mean, I'll answer them, but I don't want to.
Interesting,
Yeah,
it's just a bummer it's not good, dog.
Well, it's so hard after -1 to like look at any Godzilla media and be like, yeah, like it's all mid, and that includes like other Japanese Godzilla movies, like even Shin Godzilla. It's good, but it's like not nearly as good as -1. So it's an uphill battle. But I guess when we see Donkey Kong and Bowser Adventures this year, we'll probably cover that. I'll force you guys to go watch Godzilla X Kong.
There's Shin Kamen Rider too. If you guys could shin something, what would you shin? I guess I would shin One Piece. Like gross.
Right. Well, shin also just means new or whatever. So to update.
Oh, does it? I thought it meant like fucked up.
Well, many
That's what
readings.
Hideki Anno has been doing. He's just been doing
Yeah.
all these Shin versions of old like
Fucking
Toho.
shinned it. Look at this
series
shit.
and
I
stuff.
fucking shinned it,
You
dog.
shin some ramen,
Yeah.
Um,
Some Shin ramen.
Jacob, somebody should shin Evangelion and like give him
Whoa.
a taste of his own medicine. He'd be like, oh,
Yeah. Well, if anyone tried to
Shin
make a
Shinji.
live action, the fans would either
I'll
revolt
kill you.
or
Yeah.
it would be very polarized.
Dekiano with a gun would show up like at the studio and just start firing.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Right.
That would be crazy. I would do Message from Space War, that show that I was watching with Scorpion in it. Sorry.
Mm.
Can't
You
remember.
said was kind of Star Warsy. Is that how you described it?
Totally a Star Wars like ripoff, but serialized to be a television show. But it's they got a Obi-Wan, they got a Chewbacca that's a monkey that
Better
smokes
not be.
cigars.
It's probably not as good as Rebel Moon.
Probably, honestly,
Shin
it's
Rebel
definitely
Moon,
better.
Jacob?
Shin Rebel Moon. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, Shin Rebel Moon. Speaking of
Shin King
eccentric
Kong.
Japanese artists, did anyone see the trailer, the gameplay, not the gameplay trailer, but the trailer for Death Stranding 2?
No.
I've
Hideo
heard that it's
Kojima's-
bizarre. Yeah, is it wild?
You guys got to check it out. I was almost shared it in our
shoot.
Normies chat the other day, but I forgot. But check it out on YouTube. There's some real crazy stuff. I mean, no one's doing it like my guy Kojima, right?
It's the
There's one.
second ever
There's a
Strand
2
type game.
already. Yeah. Well, I invented it.
Yeah. No, he just wants, he's just, scanning all these actors that he likes into his game with the scanning technology. But you got to check it out. It's pretty.
Who's in this one? Who has been scanned?
It's still Norman Reedus, right?
Norman Reedus is the main character. Yeah.
Drinking that monster.
Leia Sadu.
Leia
Yeah.
Sadu, thank you. Yeah.
What's his name? The director of Mad Max is in it.
George Miller.
George Miller?
George Miller. Yeah. He's just scanning all his.
Kojima
all
does
his
have good
crazy
taste,
friends.
though.
Yeah.
Sure. Well,
Now I
Del
wanna-
Toro was in the last one.
Yeah.
He just likes big,
Yeah.
fat weirdos.
Right.
I need
But
to
there's
play
like
this
a-
George
you.
Miller.
There's like a
Mhm.
talking puppet that's like moving in half frames to everyone else. It's very strange. And then there's a villain that's like a crazy crow-looking glam rocker that has like a guitar that shoots like.
Is it like David Bowie inspired?
Yeah,
Because
he's got,
Kojima
like,
loves
crow
David
makeup.
Bowie.
Right.
I see.
Oh, like the movie
Like
The
The
Crow.
Crow,
Interesting.
yeah.
Like Brendan Lee's The Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So check that out. It's very funny because
Huh.
he has a very scary mask, and he takes his mask off, and he's got like the crow makeup underneath.
Heck yeah.
You gotta check it out. It's like a 9-minute.
It's the wrestler
trailer.
Sting. Wow, that's cool.
Yep.
Anyway, shout out to Hideo Kojima, crazy guy that I love.
One day he'll get to direct a movie, you think. Eventually
Yeah.
they'll just let him, Let him do the Evangelion live action. I dare you.
Right.
Well, now isn't there all this speculation because there was the announcement at the Game Awards? Jordan Peele is directing a film of his. Could it be Death Stranding? Is Jordan Peele doing the Death Stranding movie?
I wonder
I
if it's
haven't
like
heard
a
about
separate project.
I wonder if it even needs a movie because like I said, the
They're just
actors, yeah, they're all look
Mads
exactly like the
Mikkelsen
actors.
is
Yeah.
the villain of the first one or whatever,
And
right?
he's the Sorrow in Metal Gear Solid 3. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
And with the amount of cutscenes and stuff, like it basically is a movie that you just play. But
Shout out, Metal Gear is the Fortnite thing right now, right? So he's
it
having
really?
a good time. Yeah.
Solid Snake
gonna
is
have
in
to get on there.
Fortnite. Oh, I almost got the
Gear.
old Snake
Otacon.
alternate skin. I know they were going to make a Metal Gear Solid movie a while back. It was that Jordan Vogt Roberts was attached
Speaking
to
of
direct.
Kong Island, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know
Wow, look
what's
at that.
happening with that, but he put out this thing where he was like, look, fans, I know, this is very important to you. I'm a true fan going way back. So like, I'm going to do it right and everything. I don't know how that was like maybe a couple years ago. So I'm not sure what's going on with that project. But
It's tricky because like even like the original Metal Gear Solid, right? Like they redid that on the GameCube and it had super sick cutscenes and it's like it's already kind of there. And all the
Yeah.
other ones have like Metal Gear 4 had like 9 hours of cutscenes. It's like it's
Right.
already got cinema, but it does tie in
Peacemaker, I
because
think would be a good movie.
or or do the original like the NES ones. Like make that
Yeah.
into a movie. The original mission where he fights Gray Fox and Zanzibar, all
You guys think there's any chance John Carpenter just has a stake to be like, no, you're not doing that shit. Like, you ripped me off so much making Snake and
No, he probably
this
loves
one
it.
eye. He's like, no.
No,
Or yeah,
it's-
maybe he does. I don't know.
I don't think
that
I don't
brings
think
it full
he's that
circle.
protective about
Yeah.
Escape from New York. I think he's just like, oh, cool video game that's based on, Snake Plissken. I like
Yeah,
it.
again, if you're paying him, if the check magically appears,
Yes.
he
Yeah.
does not give a shit.
But yeah, the Kurt Russell connection continues with the Metal Gear and Kojima. So actually, very good,
That's right.
very good direction to take it, Jacob. But other than that, what about you? What have you been watching, Jacob?
Well, speaking of TV shows that you maybe don't love, well, I've been watching two shows. One that I really like and one that I don't like so much that I was hoping would be good.
Bummer.
That's how it goes.
But I'll
That's
talk
how I
about that
thought.
one first, because sticking on the John Carpenter
Mhm.
train of thought, have any of you guys checked out at all the new True Detective season 4, Night Country?
I have
There's a new
not
True
watched.
Detective. I don't know if you know about that.
I haven't seen any True Detective, and I keep getting yelled at
Really?
by my family members to watch at
Wow.
least season 1. Like this, the
Well,
perfect
season
season
one-
of television.
I thought season 1 was incredible back in the day when it first came out. I loved that show. Season 2 was a bit more polarizing. It's very pretentious, but I kind of liked it anyway. Basically, the guy that makes them, Nick Pizzolatto, I just think he's very pretentious. Or he made the first 3 seasons. Never saw the third season.
It
Yeah.
seems to no longer be attached, Jacob. I believe he has no involvement with this new season because
Well,
he's
he's an
writing
executive
the Blade
producer.
movie for Marvel, right? Isn't that what he's
Oh.
kind of up to right
That
now?
movie that's definitely
I'm
gonna
not
get made.
sure. I know he has an executive producer credit on this season, but he's also said on social media because basically, well, let me talk about season 4. So they're kind of connecting certain things to season 1 in a almost like a member berry kind of way of remember Rust Cole? Remember
Hey, I
this
love that guy.
spiral symbol?
Hey, I love
And
that
then-
symbol.
Yeah.
So Nick Pizzolatto on social media recently was like, that's so stupid. That's so stupid that they're doing that. And he's an executive producer on this show and he's talking shit about it. So
Wow.
Wild.
maybe not
Yeah.
the best guy to work with, but
Right.
I think that's
right.
kind of why HBO was like, oh, we're good. Because I think he had an idea for season 4. And HBO was like, oh, we're good. We're going to go in a different direction, I guess. So, but this is season 4, Night Country. There's been a long hiatus, right, between season 3, which I never saw. Colin, your history with True Detective, you've seen all the seasons?
I'm not positive I even finished 2. So I'm pretty sure once it started getting pretty sour and the world was against it, I was like, oh, okay, I won't watch it. I've definitely not seen 3 and have no interest in this Night Country thing. But,
I have
I don't
not
know.
seen, well, let me save you some time because I have not seen
Yeah.
3. Season 4, I was hoping would be interesting. It's not very good. And this, it had some interesting things going for it. So it's set
Well, it
in-
stars the woman who's going to win an Academy Award this year. You keep pushing for her, Jacob. You say Jodie Foster, very
is she
deserving
nominated?
of her. Yes, her and Sissy Spacek for that Naiad movie
Annette
nobody's
Bening.
ever heard of. Or yes, Annette Bening. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah, Jodie Foster is the detective, if you will, the true detective.
Well, returning to FBI stuff. Is she FBI? I mean, it's
No,
like Silence of the Lambs.
she's just a
Right.
police detective, but it's set in Alaska in Night Country, right, where it's dark for like 24 hours a day for like weeks
Right.
on end or whatever, 'cause
Cool.
it's in the
Sure.
north of the earth. But it's got it's got like The Thing vibes, right? So that's why I was getting that John Carpenter connection, because there's this this scientific outpost. These guys go missing and they end up dead, and they're all frozen together in this like jumbled mass of bodies, and they got to figure out what happened to these guys. They like walked out into the winter night, and everyone just died. So they're trying to piece that together. The problem is the writing is just not very good. Like, it had some interesting things about it in the first episode, but as the more I watch, the more I'm like, this is not it.
Well,
Season 1, what I loved about it so much is the writing, and you had these two great characters, Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, that kind of bounced off each other. They had these different personalities, and they worked so well together as this kind of weird buddy cop thing. This one, the writing, there's just no like poetry to it. There's no kind of it's just very, very bland writing.
Dang, disappointing.
Yeah.
Well, when you say things like it takes place in Alaska, night country, these people froze to death, and they connect it to season one. You're telling me Jodie Foster turns to somebody and goes like, "Well, you know who would know about this? A swamp detective named Matthew McConaughey."
Well,
Right.
it's weird because Rust Cole, played by Matthew McConaughey in the first season, he mentions his dad was like a miner in Alaska who died.
No,
No.
So
no,
yeah,
no, I say no to that.
Oh,
see,
this
that's
lore.
what Nick Pizzolatto said. So you're siding
Yes,
with him,
he's
but
correct.
no, I
For
think he
one.
is. But it's very cynical of HBO to be like, we need to draw people in. Let's connect it with these connections that make no sense to season one, so people will be like, oh, it's all connected and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just a very typical detective story, and the more I watch it, the more they keep getting sidetracked from the main mission. I'm like, solve this case. I don't care about your personal life, Jodie Foster, your divorce from Christopher Eccleston. I don't care. Like
Oh,
Doctor Who,
cool.
yeah, he's on the show,
Oh,
which I
that's
do
kind
like.
of a
But
weird age pairing, I think, right?
they're both pretty old. I don't know. But
Okay.
the dialogue is so bad. At one point, Jodie Foster is like talking to this scientist guy who's explaining some kind of scientific concept that's not hard to understand the way he explains it. And she says, "Oh, try it in English this time, nerd." I'm just like, okay,
Wow.
show. Like that was
Cool.
like it's so cliched. And then it's just like what he said was not like that technical at all. Like anyone could understand it if you
You need to
graduated high
reset
school.
your Wi-Fi. Cool it, nerd.
Try it in English, nerd.
Yeah. They've
And it just
consulted
feels like
the
they're
AI
trying to
for
be
sure.
edgy with the
Uh-huh.
amount of F-bombs they drop on the show. It's just like they're trying too hard, it seems like. That's what I can say about the show. Like, I don't know. The writing is just not good. It's the mystery is not holding me. Like the first episode, I was like, okay, this is kind of, like I said, the Thing vibes, kind of spooky. I'm liking it. The more I see, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm even going to finish this season. So I would not
Well,
recommend it.
well,
Jeez.
before you do the show you are in love with, let me do one here because it seems so interestingly and
Yes.
thematically tied together here and say
And
the
yours is
thing
one I
that I've
want
been
to
watching.
check out. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Is that I just wrapped up the latest season of Fargo season 5. Do you guys have a history with this franchise at all?
I've seen the first season. I know about like I know there's the Chris Rock season. I think I've only seen the first season though with Billy Bob Thornton that I remember, and Martin Freeman.
Including
Right.
the movie, this entire thing is a blind spot for me. I've not seen any
You
Fargo.
haven't seen the
I've
movie?
seen the movie.
Wow, Mike, you
Movie's
should
I
see the
know.
movie. It's very good.
Okay.
Well, let me just say this to the Nick Pizzolatto of everything Jacob just said. Noah Hawley, who I think is a very interesting TV creator, the same kind of force where they were these writers, these sort of, I believe, both novelists as well, who then came at this medium now sort of through authorship, where like everything you say is good about the series. It's like it was one writer. He did all these episodes, whatever, right? Now, Jacob, I think he kind of was at the same crossroads where the last season, the season 5 with Chris Rock, was so poorly received that I think they probably had discussions of taking the show away from him, like True Detective has clearly been taken away from Nick Pizzolatto.
Well, he's working on an Aliens TV show now or something.
Well, Noah Hawley works too much. That's
Yeah.
kind of an overarching thing for him. And we will probably be discussing him later this year because, yes, I believe he has an FX Alien TV show coming out this year, which is fascinating.
I have my doubts about that. I mean,
I will too,
is
yes.
Ridley involved? I need my guy Ridley in there, of course.
It feels like Monarch. Like this is, I'm getting burnt out by content. Like, and what I mean by that is
dog,
like
big time.
shows just coming out because something has to exist. It's almost like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like that's how Monarch
Yeah.
felt. It's like there's
the
no
True Detective
intent
thing-
behind this, right?
Yeah. It's interesting because the True Detective brand was dead for so long after
Yeah.
season 3 that for
Right.
them to bring it back, but with a a semicolon name where there's like
Subtitle.
Night Country to differentiate it, but then it's still
Right.
True Detective. I guess is just to get people to tune in because it wouldn't stand on its own. It was just called Night Country. It was just a
They should
separate
call
show.
it True Detective
Oh, man.
1.5 to imply it's DLC for the first season.
I was gonna
Oh,
call it True
God.
Detective -1.
Minus
Degrees.
color. Well,
Yeah, Celsius.
here's the difference is I loved this season of Fargo. For a guy who
Yes.
was cold on the last couple entries, this is now being universally praised as one of the best. As far as celebrities go, it stars Juno Temple this season, who's just coming off of a hot run on Ted Lasso. And John Hamm is the villain. When's John Hamm
Interesting.
not good?
Right.
And I got to say, it's fantastic. And I'll shout out one other cast member as well. Joe Keery, our Steve from Stranger Things, plays a character named Gator in this, who is an alt-right sheriff, who is a men's rights, sort of like goon. Incredible off casting for Joe Keery. I'm very proud of him for the performance.
I need to see this character.
Would you say John Hamm is hamming it up?
I'd say there's some severe slices of ham being cut this entire time.
Nice.
He is a guy who every time I look at him, I wonder what you guys think about him, because we're going to talk about a franchise soon that we keep teasing that has a weird Mad Men connection that I'm going to talk about on that episode when we do it. But I was a huge Mad Men fan and watched all those live because Joe and I had cable when we moved to California and it was still airing. So I would just tape them and I would just like burn through that series at the time when that was peak TV. So I love the guy, but he kind of only works for me when he's a weird bad guy, like in that and in Baby Driver and in this season of Fargo. Otherwise, he's never really connected that much with me.
And even like the comedy stuff.
Confess Fletch. He was good in. He was in a new Fletch movie. Yeah,
I'm not a Fletch guy. I've never seen a certain Mike. I'm a Fargo to your Fletch or Fletch to your Fargo.
Yes.
Well, it was just the what's his name was Fletch in 2 movies, and then they brought it back with John Hamm. But
beloved
Chevy Chase. That's right. But yeah, Fargo. I mean, I love the movie Coen Brothers. I like the first season. Never got into the other seasons. At some point, there was just too much seasons. There were so many shows that I was like, I'll get to this one day, but never picked it up. But maybe I'll drop True Detective and pick up Fargo instead. Because you don't have to do those seasons in order because they're all different stories and different time.
No, you don't have to. But and you look at those other Hulu anthology series, and Noah Hawley's in that business. He's got a million of them. But you look at like Jacob, why is it that when I see like John Hamm sign up for like the new season of Fargo, I'm like, good, that's a good choice. Or like when a celebrity does that, I'm like, that's excellent. But when anybody does a Ryan Murphy thing lately, I'm like, Naomi Watts, what are you doing? Like, you're ruining your career.
Right.
It's a creator on the same network who's operating at the same budget. And it like discourages me when I see people work with that guy.
Yeah, Ryan Murphy, very hit or miss. Definitely more miss lately. I haven't seen American Horror Story in a few years.
No, it's been a while.
Yeah,
unfortunately, that's right up our alley. So,
but that's a lot like Jodie Foster coming back, doing TV for the first time in like 40 years, and she signs up for this True Detective spinoff, basically, which is just not it.
And at any point, you could just put on Silence of the Lambs and watch her do a different mystery, more executed better.
Yeah. Starring the best movie of all time, Mike.
Yeah,
you're like, oh,
seriously,
great.
Water
and they're
this
trying to make this
down.
mysterious of like who drew this spiral on these dead bodies or whatever. I don't know.
I don't like the tying into the first season. Yeah, that's very
no. And they're trying to they're build on the supernatural stuff because there was some supernatural elements of the first season with
Yellow King
and all that stuff. Yeah,
Carcosa. Yeah. Oh my god,
Mike, I would recommend just watching that first season just as a standalone season of TV. It's so good. I mean, that was the McConaissance era when he was just really killing it in movies and TV, and people are like, this guy is fucking everywhere now.
That guy got canceled. Jacob, what's his name? The fucking James Bond director? No.
Well, there's Cary Fukunaga directed the first season.
Doji Fukunaga.
He got canceled. Him and Pizzolatto had I don't know if he got canceled. I think they just had a falling out, and he didn't come back.
I think Cary Fukunaga was maybe molesting some underage girls. I'm pretty sure something bad happened to that guy. So fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
What do you do?
But yeah, I don't know this. But season 1 really good, and they had that one episode with that long one take camera shot that was incredible, and you just had
I mean, it made Fukunaga's career. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second season was Pizzolatto saying like, "Oh, I didn't need that Fukunaga guy. Like I'm a
All
great
me
writer."
this time. And we're like, this
It's just
show
like
sucks. And he was like,
Vince
what?
Vaughn and Colin Farrell was my favorite part of
Huh?
that second season, but yeah,
Oh,
it
no
was
way,
weird.
dude.
It was just monologues
Fred
all the time.
Ward in those dream sequences talk. That's where
Yeah.
I'm like existing. I'm like, bring me back to Tremors, Mike.
Oh man, that's this. Give me.
Um,
Didn't they do Tremors TV show?
Well,
Probably.
I don't think Kevin Bacon's ever let that be released, actually. I think they made it and he was like, ooh, you know what? We blew it. Let's not show this to anybody.
Sure.
We need more Tremors content in the world. That's what's been wrong. Not enough theatrical release
Yeah.
Tremors projects.
They should do a spin-off TV show. That'll be great, I'm sure.
Well, tell us, what is the positive thing you've been
Yeah.
watching then,
Yes.
Jacob?
We've been talking Fargo, True Detective, Monarch. Forget all these shows, okay?
Yeah.
I've
I'm
been
there about
watching this
Fargo.
show. This show that I love is called The Curse.
Oh, Ju-on.
now
Yes, the
this
Ju-on
is-
television spin.
Yes, of
Ju-on
course.
Curse. Yes. Now this is on it's on Showtime, which I watched through Paramount Plus. I got a month-long trial just to watch this show, basically. And this is Nathan Fielder, Benny Safdie, and Emma Stone teaming up to do this TV show. You know, Emma Stone, Oscar nominated right now for Poor Things. Really, what she should be nominated for is her performance in this show, The Curse.
Mhm.
She should win an Oscar for a TV show.
No kidding.
But Nathan Fielder and Benny Safdie co-created this show. So Nathan Fielder, it's got his thing, his Nathan Fielder thing, plus the Safdie Bros thing, combining in an interesting way that I think really works for this show.
You are a noted Uncut Gem Safdie Brothers fan. Are you
Yes,
a Nathan
love
for
Uncut
You fan? You know,
I like Nathan
that's
for
the-
You, and then that show that he did last year, the audition or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
I
I
just
am
think
a
Nathan
fan
Fielder
of.
is a very interesting guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's behind
I
Dumb
love his-
Starbucks. I had no idea until I watched
that's
that
right.
show. Yeah.
He does a lot of like crazy social experiment type things, but not in like an annoying way, but in a very his own way, where he just has this deadpan sort of style that really works for this show. So this show stars those three people. So it's Nathan Fielder and Emma Stone as this like rich millennial couple who are like making these eco-friendly homes. And then Benny Safdie is also in it, and he plays basically they're making an HGTV type reality show about their lives, and so he's like the reality producer guy who's making a show about them. But it just has this tone to it, and this like there's so much going on in the frame that like something just feels off a lot of times. It's almost like Lynchian, I want to say, like Twin Peaks kind of, where you just have this sense of like dread or something wrong as it's going on. It's hard to even describe why I like it, but it's this weird, it's like satire mixed with like dark comedy mixed with I don't even know what, but it's just hard to describe the tone of this, but once you see it, you'll be like, oh man, that's crazy.
The whole thing is scripted. Like this is just a straight up.
Yes, it's a scripted
not
show.
my question too.
Pranking people like Nathan for You
No,
style.
it's a totally scripted show, but it's
Okay.
combining Nathan Fielder's kind of comedy sensibilities with
Yeah.
the Safdie sensibilities.
My favorite
Emma
Jedi, rest
Stone-
in peace.
Yes, and Benny Safdie as an actor, he's got a lot of range. Actually, he was in Oppenheimer, if you remember. He
It's
played that
what a
like,
year he's
European
had,
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in Mother Margaret May. What is that?
Oh yeah, Martha Marcy May
Yes.
Marlene.
No, Margaret.
Oh.
Do you hear? Or it's me, God. It's Margaret, or whatever.
Oh,
the
I
hell
didn't
that's
see
called.
that.
Like
He was
a
in,
normal dad in that.
Oh, he was in
Nice.
Licorice Pizza. He
Yeah.
was in A Good Time, obviously a Safdie brothers movie. He's got crazy range because if you see him in Oppenheimer and then you see him in this, like it's a totally different character, which is like, yeah. But,
Interesting.
and he plays like this sleazy reality TV guy, but you just kind of have to watch it to understand why I like it, I guess, because I can't really describe it to you, but it's just the cinematography is great. Just everything about it, like the music, it all comes together like a Twin Peaks type of show where it's like these seemingly normal occurrences, but there's just something off about them. and they're sort of very subtly satirizing like millennials, kind of just these rich millennials who have rich parents who are landlords, who are like sort of taking advantage of like disadvantaged people, and it's just it's subtle, but there's just a lot going on that I really recommend.
I'm a fan of the Fielder style. I like Emma Stone, so this is something that's been on my radar. I just been watching Godzilla too many times.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's a bit of a slow burn, but it's just very interesting. And Emma Stone, like I said, she's incredible in this. Like I always thought she was a good actress, but I thought this is one of her best performances that I've seen in the last several years. So I think
it's like when you think about like us being in high school, seeing her in Superbad, I'm sure like me, you guys immediately fell in love with her and you watched her like early comedy career. And I guess she does the Spider-Man stuff, but I just always wonder, like, she does so much experimental stuff now. How does she survive? I mean, I guess just off of the paychecks of
she's got the
Gwen
Spider-Man
Stacy.
residuals.
Well, you do a La La Land, that helps.
La La Land.
Yeah.
With Ken.
Yeah, she makes a lot of interesting choices with her roles. I mean, she's worked with Yorgos Lanthimos now a couple times with The Favorite and Poor Things, and she's doing all this sort of experimental type stuff. And then this very experimental TV show, which I don't imagine has a huge audience, but it's kind of a cult hit where people just like, obviously people that loved Uncut Gems are watching it. That kind of thing.
Did you see Jacob Christopher Nolan's been leading a bunch of Q&As saying it's his favorite TV show he's ever seen?
Oh, sure, I could see that. Yeah, that's high praise. Yeah,
I'm definitely going to check it out. I've been meaning to watch it. I thought it was going to be the formula of kind of regular people interacting with Nathan thing.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
I guess I figured
scripted.
he'd just be tricking poor families into like badly built houses. Like I guess I didn't really. That's kind of what
that's what his
characters trailers are, right? But but you're just like,
now that I know it's scripted, it's like, oh, okay, this is actually. I like the concept of seeing what he's doing in the constraint of.
Is he a good actor?
Yeah, like he's doing his Nathan Fielder thing, but in a way that like
different
he's playing this like sociopath character who's like doesn't understand
he might
human emotions.
Might be.
Yeah. Well, I don't. You're not selling me on very different from Nathan Fielder.
No, he's basically playing himself, just like a darker version of himself.
Right. Okay. Fascinating.
He's drawing on what already works for him. And then the Safdie brothers, I've talked about how much I love Uncut Gems and Good Time. They're now, like the Coen brothers, they have separated creatively. They are not making movies together. Josh and Benny Safdie.
Something I predicted years ago, because Benny was getting too many acting jobs, dog.
Benny really seems like
he will never make another movie again.
Yeah, he really seems like the more prolific one, I guess. Which Josh Safdie does have a producer credit on this as well, but I just know they're not working creatively anymore. They're not making movies together.
So which one of them just announced that they're gonna just like save The Rock's career? Which one of them is making a movie with Dwayne Johnson? Is it Benny? Probably. Okay.
Probably, yeah. I know they were working on another project with Adam Sandler that they were trying to get off the ground. That maybe
I think they're gonna do an MMA movie, and I think Dwayne's the star.
Oh, I hate that. He just came back and took Cody Rhodes' spot in WrestleMania just because he was bored. Yeah, he's just like, I'm going to fight Roman Reigns now. It's like, okay.
Well, I would say he's probably trying to take the spotlight off of some other stuff happening in the wrestling world right now, Mike.
Oh, well,
could be happening, yeah.
Ooh, maybe. I don't even want to open that can of worms.
You need to bring John Cena back, too.
Burn them all.
Really.
Yeah.
But, The Curse, check it out. It's kind of hard to watch, if you don't have Showtime, but... I got like I said, I got a month of Showtime through Paramount Plus because it also gives me access to all these A24 movies that I've been watching that I never had a chance to see on streaming.
Since we share that, you're very gracious. Thank you so much. Does that mean I can watch Yellow Jackets finally for this month? I should fucking.
I think so. Yeah.
Burn through that. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's a Showtime. So,
I've been dying to watch that.
Yeah, The Curse. And I haven't even finished the season yet. It's all out though. There's 10 episodes. I'm just catching up on it slowly, but it gets pretty crazy. So and it's got the I'm the Captain Now guy too, isn't it?
So who's
Admar Oxby? What is his name? Really?
Probably. Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
No, it's
Admar Oxby, I think. Right?
I just rewatched Blade Runner 2049 like 3 times
Yeah.
recently.
Oh
'cause I'm-
yeah, he plays like a pirate in that too, right?
He's like a guy who's like, this thing's made of wood. I can get you a real horse. It's like, I don't need a real horse. He's like, I get
Oh,
you one.
that's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah, unfortunately,
okay.
he hasn't had a
identifies
ton
with
of. I mean,
thing.
Oscar nominated for his role in that, obviously, but has not had a ton of roles since then, just because he's not a typical, as far as looks and everything, leading
Well,
man
and how
or
many
whatever.
simoleon parts have been written? You have
Yeah.
to wonder.
Right, but he could play.
He's got a
other
unique look.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a unique look, but Oscar nominated, so good for him.
Yep. That reminds
Anyways,
me too.
yeah,
I also watched The Peripheral just briefly to
Oh,
do the
yes.
cyberpunk thing, and I really enjoyed that. And that has an interesting kind of time.
Interesting. That is a show
travel
that I've just
aspect,
basically
too.
made fun of, not knowing anything about it, but just jokingly said, "Are you watching The Peripheral on Amazon Prime a lot?"
Well, then when I
So-
found out it's William Gibson,
Yes.
based on a William Gibson work, I was like, okay. And it's actually pretty interesting. If you like sci-fi stuff, I think it's got a decent hook. There's a thing where the character gets their Apple Pro Vision, but it
Yeah.
like through quantum tunneling, people in the future are getting her to like control an avatar robot in their present. So she's in the past to them, but with the way quantum tunneling works, so there's a weird like time difference. So it's
When
they
she's jacking into the internet, she does not realize it is the future internet.
she figures it out. Like it's early on, they kind of put the hook in, but at first she doesn't know that it's not present day. And then it's like, so that's kind of the hook. It's like these people from the future need her to do something in the past, or, it's like there's this interesting back and forth and like information withholding that, they know something that they don't want her to know, but they're trying to get her to do the mission. It's kind of a neat little mystery.
If future Colin could quantum tunnel me some better 5G so that I could actually send text messages in my apartment, that would be
Right.
incredible.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and ask for that into the universe.
It's a cool universe that it builds, because she's like, they live in like a country, like southern, just I don't know much, but it's like they got future technology, but we're just out here in the Ozark woods. Like it's like has this weird mix of like, not disparaging, but it's like this white trash but future. Like it's an interesting place to put a cyberpunk character that's not like
Right.
Night City or something. And then when she connects to the future London, and that's like you get the traditional cyber stuff. But
Now it's Hit Girl, whose name I'm
Yes.
forgetting.
Chloe
Chloe
Grace
Moretz.
Moritz.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Am I also wrong? Is it Jack? Is his name Jack Rayner? Is it the guy from Transformers, Mike, who shows that card who
Yes.
says legally I can't be dating your daughter, Mark
I
Wahlberg?
believe, yes, Jack Rayner. He's
you.
the Michael Bay card. Yes, that's him.
Yes.
He's the brother. He was in the military, and they have a thing too where like he's got his military buddies. I just like the technology, and like in the future military, you're all wired together, like in your head. So like you see what they see, and you can like identify targets. It's like crazy
sure.
how they
Yeah.
like work together. So there's some neat tech going on in it. So I think it's for something we did just kind of goof on. It ended up being pretty
Yeah.
good. So
That's
that's my
cool.
cyber
Nice.
wrap up. Yeah.
Well, that's some good TV recommendations, right? Fargo, The Curse,
And I would say Peripheral and
Bunch
not
of stuff we
Monarch.
didn't like.
Yeah.
Bunch of
Yeah.
stuff we thought was fine.
Yeah.
But really,
yeah.
I think you guys should check out The Curse. I think you guys might like
It
it. It's just
is-
very layered and very interesting.
I had to stop watching. I never saw the final episode of The Audition because that woman he was living with made me so nervous. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm done. I am out.
That's
show's
when
so
you're
meta
wondering,
where
is
he's
he a
just created
sociopath?
Meta
Yes,
fake life.
100%.
Like when the kid is like starting to call him dad and shit, and he has to be like, okay, this system, like,
We
I'm
gotta
like,
stop
whoa,
all
whoa,
this.
whoa. Like,
Yeah.
No,
I
that's
do think
crazy.
Nathan Fielder's like a comedic genius to a certain degree of like he's got his
Yeah.
own thing that no one is really doing. So check
And-
those shows out. Yeah.
you can't see through the veil. Like, I can never tell how much of it is
No.
a work and how much of it is a shoot, and he's very good at
Right.
playing that. And so, yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch The Curse.
Yeah.
But I watch those
Well,
other
that's our-
shows like True Detective, Dark Country, or whatever, Night Country.
Night
and
Country.
Those
yeah,
are
you could probably
cursed
skip
shows.
that.
Monarch is
Yeah.
cursed. Just don't watch it. Yeah.
That's
All
our
right.
TV roundup, right?
Yeah.
Any
yeah.
movies or anything that we should mention? I've been watching a variety of movies. I mean, Normies, just I'll plug my Letterboxd, of course. If you ever want to know what I've been watching, I log every single movie I watch on Letterboxd. I know, Colin, you do that as well. And so if you ever want to check us out on Letterboxd, please do. I I do that more for my own autistic purposes as well, but also just to have another thing that I commit to doing. So
I'll
Right,
say
right.
again, I do it for no repeats. The fact that I can, sit down and be like, "Am I going to watch Raising Arizona again?" I'm like, "Oh, I already watched it this year." No, I'm
Right.
not.
Fair enough.
Right.
Meanwhile, I'm watching
And I
Blade
like
Runner
having a
2049 three times in a month.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
do
not
love
good,
that
Mike.
movie.
I love
But
it.
I like having a database of every movie I've ever seen
Mhm.
ranked. It's just something very
Satisfying
again
about that.
autistic about it that I like. Yeah.
I made it through the
It's an
full
auteur.
timeline of film recently that they have on there and successfully identified every film I've seen. So I now have a true total of how many films I've seen in my life. I'm very happy about that.
That I
Sure.
want to do that, but it seems so daunting to begin. I need to get like a bunch of Adderall and like just sit down and like burn through it because
Good
Yeah.
idea.
that's a lot to start at the beginning. How many have you seen? Do you have a number?
Let's pop open the old letterbox real
I'm
quick.
so fascinated about this. I feel like because we probably watch more movies than the average person,
Yeah,
in our
I would say at
lifetimes.
this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this also keeps me on schedule so that I try to watch like on average at least one movie every 2 days. Sometimes more, where I'll just watch a movie every day. Sometimes less if I'm busy or something. But I try to watch
If
at
you
least
can.
one movie every 2 days. So
Gotcha. Any new releases while he's pulling this up that is coming out in the next couple weeks that you're looking forward to?
well, I'll just say according to my Letterboxd, I have 925 movies ranked since I started doing this. So I don't have every movie I've
Sheesh.
ever seen ranked.
But
But
you have 900.
I got the number here
925.
4,419.
Yeah,
Wow.
and you've been doing
That's
it longer than I
incredible.
have, and I've only, there's probably a bunch of movies that I haven't actually ranked that I've seen. So
Actually ranked 1,062.
That's insane, man. That's awesome. I'm feeling like I'm falling behind. Dang it. Well, I'll have to start doing that, but I do want to shout out one movie. I think we're all going to be rushing to the theaters February 14th
Argyle,
to see.
Agent Argyle.
Well, I was going to say Madam Web, but maybe
Well,
Argyle.
look, it's going to be a double
It's
feature.
a double
of both of those.
feature. It's gonna
Yeah.
be great.
I
Yeah,
like
we're all
Dua
looking
Lipa, and
forward
she
to
was
it.
in the Argyle trailer, so
I think
that would get
she's
me closer.
attractive. Yes, and
I like her
talented.
music too.
I mean, it's still true in this day and age that when you put a movie out in January and February, the audience just knows they are dog shit movies. Like, can you put like that? Like, how is that still possible?
Well, how is
Someone's
it
gotta
still
put out a good
how is
one.
how is Sony still allowed to make movies? Number one, and
Yeah.
number two, this Agent Argyle has been advertised to death. Like I've seen it everywhere, but I don't know a single person
I
that's
need
like
her to
looking
write the
forward to
final
it.
chapter.
Mm-hmm.
I actually know the twist of it because someone posted on Twitter back in like
Snape
2021
blanks.
when the Variety was announced that they were making this movie. The spoiler of the movie is in the announcement that they're making
Oh,
Oh,
that's
wow.
funny.
where they're like,
This is the bit,
Jessica
yeah.
Chastain is that the actress? She stars at basically. Do you want me to spoil? I'll
No,
spoil
I do
Argyle
not.
real
Do
quick.
No,
not
it's a
spoil for
stranger
our
than
listeners.
fiction
It's
scenario, I
it
suppose.
just came out. Yeah,
We're all
do not
dying to see
spoil
it,
the
Jacob. Don't spoil Argyle.
Right.
No.
But they did
well,
in
go see
2021,
Argyle.
however. Okay.
Yeah.
It
If you
could
look
be
at the
good.
announcement in Variety, the headline spoils
It's
the
the
movie.
cat. The cat is Agent Argyle.
Yeah, done.
maybe.
Oh well.
No, but
Pretty
that,
sure that's
that
Give
movie
me a
has an
popcorn bucket that
insane
looks like a cat.
stunt cast for a movie that no one's interested in. Like all these crazy, like John Cena is in it or whatever. I don't know. It's weird.
John
Do you,
Cena's in
do you guys
everything.
know the
Yeah.
theory that just because the book, it is a book it's based on, right?
I have no idea.
I think it is, but I think because the book stars a cat or whatever, people think Taylor Swift is the ghostwriter. They think she wrote it under a pseudonym.
Whoa.
Oh, well, Jessica
Wild.
Chastain is the writer, right?
Well, in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm saying of the
The
actual
actual
thing.
book.
Oh, they think Taylor Swift wrote
Is the
book?
writer of Argyle. Yeah.
That's an insane opinion to have.
Well,
Taylor
that's-
Swift is not. She's busy
I don't
dating
think she
Travis
has the
Kelsey and
time, yeah.
making music.
Yeah.
I don't think she's
she's
writing books.
polluting the environment.
She's
too much to
re-recording
be
all of her
writing a
other
book.
music to get it back
Yeah.
because the music
Yeah.
industry is terrible. Sidebar: Paramore is going to be re-recording their music too to get it because
Oh,
they
really?
don't have the rights to a lot of their early stuff.
Haley's
so
version.
Oh,
yes,
that's cool.
Haley's version. Correct.
Speaking of
There's
Paramore,
other
I
people
also
in that
saw-
band.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm a huge Paramore fan actually, and I love they're one of the few bands that I listened to like in my emo era in the 2000s that I think their music is better now than it was back then,
Oh
because
wow,
they've totally changed their style. They're more of a new wavy type band now.
I don't know.
Their style really matured with them, I thought, and I think their last couple albums have been excellent. But
No, I
speaking of
love their
Paramore,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, they Stop Making Sense, the Talking Heads concert film directed by Jonathan Demme, right, who made that.
Director Silence of the Lambs. A little
Yes,
something we said earlier. Yeah.
it's Stop Making Sense 25th anniversary or something, and so A24 did this album where all these different artists are covering these Talking Heads songs, and Paramore covered Burning Down the House by Talking Heads.
Oh,
And so
cool.
I saw that
Right.
recently, so it all ties together, I guess. Just wanted to
Yeah,
mention
so I
that.
guess this is what we've been listening to, sort of. But they're doing
Yeah.
also a bunch of collaborations, I think, with other artists going to cover their songs soon for Paramore.
Paramore?
As well.
Oh,
So,
cool.
Yeah.
but anyway, I mean, all we know is Falling is an old album, and some of those songs they need to be re-recorded anyway. The masters
Yeah.
aren't even good. They were just mixed poorly for like the early 2000s. So I'm down for the re-recordings anyway.
I know in
That's how you
Taylor's
get from
case,
Argyle.
yeah, there's that guy Scooter Braun
Scooter Braun,
that owned
big
like all
shithead.
her royalties, that she's a bad guy, so that's why she's doing those Taylor's versions to get
Well, and now
rights of her
other
own
artists
music
are
back.
following to do the same thing, not just to remaster, but Paramore doesn't own the rights to those early albums either.
Right.
So they're
On the more cynical side, you could say,
Yeah.
oh, she's just remaking her songs to get more money, because obviously she's selling them. Like, you can't just get the album for free, so
Right.
you're paying twice for the same music. But yeah,
But yeah, I think the creator of the art should have the rights to the art. So fuck you, Scooter Braun.
absolutely,
nice.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's TV corner, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we
Paramore
should.
corner.
They had music in a video game, The Sims. Pressure was featured in The Sims too. So
Really?
that's a transition to,
The
of course.
Sims.
I just skimmed the
Did not know
Wikipedia,
that.
but yeah. So now it's time to go continue with our simulation and talk about what we've been playing right after this.
We're
Very
back
well
here
done.
on Normies Like Us, tagging Whatcha, diving in
Mhm.
on what we're playing right now in the new year, 2024.
Yes, in the year of our Lord, 2024.
Digital Lord.
Digital Overlords, the AI Overlord, year of our AI Overlord, 2024. I guess, Colin, what have you been playing? Let's kick it off there.
Well, I kind of put a pause on the Persona stuff because I switched over what game I'm kind of playing on
Mhm.
that. I'd hit some sort of story point where I was
Mhm.
like, oh, you can technically start all the spin-offs at this point. So that's what I'll do.
That's right.
But taking that pause kind of just proved to be just me being like, oh, maybe I'll just set this down for a minute, because I actually have not jumped any of those spin-offs.
I see.
And I kind of have been feeling a little listless or checklisty to just go like, well, what are some games I was close to finishing that I can go back through? So there's been a couple more rounds of just like grabbing some fucking random Pokemon or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've found my way back to the Metroid Prime remaster,
Nice.
which I believe I said in a previous Whatcha I didn't enjoy at all and just did not grab me. That's not a game I played back in the day. And I played it all this week, and literally right before we recorded this Whatcha, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm feeling better about this game. And I hit the little start menu, and it showed you your percentage of completed, and I was at like 30% only still. And I was like, you know what? I might not be coming
maybe I
back to
don't.
the same side on now. I might be bailing on that too. I'm kind of in need of a game.
I played it
But,
on that's the 3D one on GameCube, right?
Yeah.
See, I played that back in the day, so I would probably have nostalgia for it, if I played the remaster. But
just a lot of scanning, Mike. It's just you walking around just fucking, you're just like working a job. Like Samus is just fucking scanning shit. I'm like, can we just fucking kill some shit?
you're just checking things out of the grocery
Yes.
store. Yeah. Fair enough.
Have you seen the lore on this wall? And I'm like, yeah, I have.
Pretty cool lore. Yeah, I guess it
Well,
could
Colin,
be a little
I mean, if
backtracky.
you're looking for a game to get into, maybe it's time for old Baldur's Gate 3 for Colin to start. Baldur's
Dude,
Gate 3.
seriously.
A
Yeah.
big one like that too. I don't know. Yeah.
So I do have a Persona note because recently, just like earlier this week before we recorded, they re-released Persona 3 Reloaded. It was only
That's
on
right.
PS2 and they completely remastered it. That's the one where to unlock your powers, you shoot yourself in the head with a gun.
That's right.
And they didn't take it out of it, which I was worried that they would, but they did not show it in any of the marketing, obviously. But it's in the game, so they didn't
Wow.
ruin it, which is a weird
And the
system. Not
plot
gonna lie. But...
of that game is that they find out that there's not 24 hours a day. There's a secret 25th hour that you can utilize if you're, like special or blow your brains out, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. That's like because
That's cool.
that makes so much sense. Like we have no time. We don't have enough time for school and all this stuff. I'm just gonna blow my brains out. Oh,
Yeah,
look at this.
I gotta die.
I have
Oh,
an
no,
extra
now I'm
hour. Now I
Yeah, well,
have more
that's good.
time.
Great.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's something like that. But there's always, the Midnight Channel and Persona 4 and whatever, some vehicle for that. But
I love
I don't
it.
know. It's completely from the ground up remade, so it has the style of Persona 5. I assume good
Yes,
jams.
more friendly to those current users, it
Mm-hmm.
seems, which is genius for Atlas. Good for them. I'm sure they've made quite a bit of money lately off of a franchise that they're like, and we've got more coming. Like, we're not done yet.
It's crazy kind of how it's grown. Like it was like 3 was fine, like it was niche, right? And then 4 was like a little bit more popular. We start getting the spin-offs there. You do Gold and they had the fighting game, and then 5 just exploded. And now they're re-releasing 3. So yeah, good for Atlas, and shout out to them being the company to first publish Demon Souls.
Yeah.
So before Bandai Namco snatched up the global rights. Anyway, that's pretty interesting. You'll finish 5. I still haven't finished 5, so
I will. I'll get back to it.
Well, I hope
I
you
need
stop
to.
that volleyball coach from
I
sexually
stopped the
harassing his...
molesters. Yes.
yes.
That's
We
good.
stop them. Yeah, it's great. It's a great game.
Should I jump into what I've been
Yeah,
playing?
no, go for it. Please
Please
please.
do.
If I can
Tell me about
butt
your
in
word,
here.
pal.
I'm excited about this because normally on what have we been playing? I'm like, oh, I've been playing Fortnite, or I've been playing
Mhm.
my franchise in NFL or NBA games. Very
Uh-huh.
boring answers, right? But this week I've actually been playing 2 new games that I really want to shout out that I've been really enjoying both. The first one I mentioned on our best of the year back in January, Dave the Diver, which is this indie game. To explain a little bit about the gameplay, basically you play a diver named Dave who swims around in the ocean. You collect fish, you shoot them with your harpoon and stuff. You fight things, you get sunken treasure and all that stuff. And then at nighttime, you come back up and you work at a sushi restaurant where all the fish that you caught that day, you make this nice sushi, and it's got this sort of light restaurant management sim type gameplay where you're serving customers at night. So you do, diving during the day, and then you come up and you do sushi at night. But I've been fucking loving this game, and I played about 20 hours or so of it. It's very addicting. The gameplay loop. And what's interesting about it is they keep introducing new things throughout the game. So you think you understand the game, but then they're like, oh no, there's this whole underwater civilization of like sea people that you can do quests for and stuff.
Oh, whoa.
And then they're
Stop
like,
eating our cousins.
Yeah. And then, there's this whole seahorse racing side mini game thing where you can manage a roster of seahorses and improve their stats and do different things. It's like
adorable.
they just keep adding elements and new gameplay things throughout this game, so you never get bored because you're never doing one thing for too long. You're always moving on to something else. So you think, oh, this, I understand it now. You're just swimming through the ocean and stuff, but it keeps adding stuff, and it's just fascinating how it kind of ramps up. And it's got this whole plot and world building to it that you don't think like such a indie-ish type game would have, but it's got all these characters that you grow to love and you learn their backstories and stuff. And it's just a really, really well-made game.
That's great.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about it, and I have a couple other friends who've been playing it and seem to be enjoying it. So might be one worth checking out.
Well,
yeah, Dave
it
the
is
Diver.
your next game, Mike, because you do know the DLC they just announced, right?
No, what did they announce?
Crossing over with a Godzilla.
What? Dave the Diver with Godzilla?
They just put up a weird video that is Godzilla appearing, and then Dave the Diver being like, huh? And they say coming soon. So you're like, well, I don't know what that means.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. That's pretty wild.
That's a lot of fish.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It is him.
But you do fight sharks and stuff, and you get, more advanced guns and whatnot that you can fight. There's even boss fights where you're fighting like a giant squid underwater. It's just insane.
Oh well,
Like there's
that'll
new
be Godzilla
biomes
then.
you
Yeah.
go to.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
gonna fight Ebira, the giant shrimp.
Yeah. It's just you think you
Yeah.
have the gameplay figured out, but it just keeps adding stuff, new biomes, new levels to go to, new gameplay mechanics, mini games, cutscenes. Like it's
Hmm.
really, really well
And
made.
it is all just pixel art, right? Like it's just sort of
Yeah, it's like
side
2D side
scrolly.
scroll, but
I
you're
love that.
swimming in the water. And it's got great water mechanics of you just swimming around. You have a harpoon gun that you shoot things with, and you can level it up and do different customizations to it. And then at night, you have this sushi chef guy that you hang out with who makes you this great sushi. And you're always trying to get better fish to get more money from the customers at night. And they have different taste preferences. So you got to get mixed specials and stuff. And it's just, there's a lot of depth to it, and that you wouldn't think of first seeing it. You're like, okay, it's pretty basic indie game, but then you don't realize how much depth there is to it.
Yeah, no, I'm taking a look at it. It seems pretty interesting. It's giving not the same gameplay, but like the swimming is giving me like Echo the Dolphin vibes. This kind of chill
Yeah.
exploration stuff, you know.
A lot of times,
Stardew Echo the Dolphin. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
there's even a farming. Eventually, you get to like a Stardew Valley level of like farming things, and it's crazy. But a lot of games, the water level, people never like the water level. This one, the water, moving around in the water feels good. It feels natural,
Mm.
and yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
No, it seems like a good chill time. I'm trying to figure out who
Yeah,
produced it, but
it's a Korean company, I believe.
oh, I think they're a
Um,
subsidiary of Nexon. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Nice
So
work.
shout out to Dave the Diver. Check that one out. Also, another one that is been in the news recently. You've probably heard of it. Well, Colin, you're familiar with a little game called Pokemon, right?
That's right.
I've heard of it.
Well,
That's
this game
yeah.
is like Pokemon, but better.
All right.
Okay,
Or some
but
would
better.
say better. No,
Mhm.
it's this game is called Palworld. I'm sure you guys have all heard of it. There's been
Well, it's
some
NTSC World
controversies.
in over here.
That's a very funny video codec joke that we all understand.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Sorry.
Mm.
Pal World.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Palworld, so the pals are the Pokemon, of course. It's knockoff Pokemon, but the
Pokepal.
gameplay
Yeah.
is not really like a Pokemon game. The game, basically, the creators of
You
this
give
game,
them guns?
it's Pokemon with guns is what it was kind of known for. But really, what sold me on it is the gameplay, which is more based on Ark Survival Evolved, a game that I love, than it is on Pokemon. It's a early access survival crafting game, which a lot of people don't like. It's one of my favorite genres of games,
Yeah.
Yeah.
starting with Minecraft back in the day. I'm talking Ark, I'm talking Rust, I'm talking
Yep.
Valheim,
You played all these
all
games.
those
Yeah.
games that I love.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you can hit a tree and then hit a rock and make some tools and then make your base, like I'm in.
And make something more. Yeah.
So, but essentially, this company, this is what I call the Rebel Moon of video games to Colin, where I'm like, this company, they looked at every popular game and were like, what if we combine elements of all these popular games and make this new game? So it's got this Ark Survival Evolved gameplay. It's got these knockoff Pokemon. It's got a lot of Breath of the Wild in the world and the exploration. It's got Elden Ring boss fights, Souls-like
Oh,
boss
wow.
fights.
What?
How?
It's yeah, so it's Elden Ring, Breath of the Wild, Ark, Pokemon, the game. If I can
Jesus.
sell that to you. Yeah.
Well, and you
That's-
kind of just said how ever evolving Dave the Diver is too. Are video games too kitchen sinky now?
No, because I think this game is genius because it was like I really like the gameplay of Ark, where if you don't know that game, it's a survival crafting game where there's dinosaurs and all the different dinosaurs have different uses. So some of them are good for fighting, some of them are good for resource gathering, et cetera, et cetera.
Some can fly.
So this company, they took that idea. They're like, what if instead of dinosaurs, it's literally Pokemon, and all
Right.
the Pokemon have different uses. So like, you
Mhm.
put them to work for you in your base. So like
Oh
the
man.
fire ones are like cooking things. The
No
water ones are
way.
spraying water on.
So
Yeah,
that
that's
is
the
better
whole
than
gameplay of
Pokemon.
it.
God, I love it so much.
That's actually
Yeah.
really good.
So you're putting basically you're making these Pokemon your slaves and you're making them work for you.
Right.
Mhm.
Some are chopping down trees, some are mining rocks, and so you're automating all these processes eventually. So you got all these Pokemon working for you. So that's what I really like about the gameplay loop of it all.
So it's like it's letting you do explicitly what Pokemon tries to shy around, the fact that you're enslaving these creatures for your own means. Like they're just like, this is
Yes.
what it would really be.
And when I was talking to Colin about this, I was like, he made a really good point that I thought was interesting. You said, I like it because it's making Pokemon be like, oh, we need to make like different kind of games or like good games because it's filling a niche that there is no Pokemon game
No.
like this. Like the
Right.
gameplay of this game, the most similar you could say is that Pokemon Arceus, where you're catching Pokemon in like a open world similar to
Mhm.
this, but this is so much like more advanced on that front of things that like there's nothing like this in real Pokemon. And
Like
if
if you
Pokemon
subtract the
made a game
gun,
like this,
yeah, there might be like a Chansey in the background of a kitchen, like as like a set piece, but you're not actually getting to have a Charmander cook stews for you.
right. And just the
Yeah.
open world nature of it, the putting the Pokemon to work for you. Meanwhile, you're going out catching new Pokemon. Some of the Pokemon you can ride around on, so they're mounts. Some you can fly with. Some you can use as a hang glider, and then some you can pop out and say, "Hey, get your assault rifle, go shoot those guys."
Yeah, that's the
So
most bizarre
Hey,
part.
hey, get in the car, boys. We're about to do a drive-by. I'm stranded up with 3 Mr. Mimes, and we're fucking out for
Oh,
blood.
Mr. Mime,
yeah.
you know, because he's not going to snitch.
No,
He
dog.
can't talk at all.
But this is the thing. So if the Pokemon Company made a game like this that was just this game with the official licensed Pokemon, it would sell, I want to say, billions of
Well,
copies.
and
And you know that
this
they've had
needs
issues with bugs too recently. Like they haven't been shipping
Yeah.
good code.
well, so at the time that this is released, what it's coming up against is the latest DLC for Scarlet and Violet, the latest Pokemon version, where Mike, I kid you not, in the subreddit, people play a game called Scarlet and Violet or N64 game, where they will take a picture of a texture in the video game
Oh,
and
no.
say, what is this from? And a lot of the times, it is Scarlet and Violet, my dogs.
Oh,
Yeah,
not
and this is the
wow.
most profitable
terrible.
IP on the planet, and they can't make good games. Like it's
So
just
this
laziness
Palworld
and
needs to
yeah,
scare the shit out of them. It
Yeah.
needs to
absolutely.
fucking terrify them, Jacob, so that they get off their asses and go like, "Oh, other gamers, like you can just do this shit." Oh, fucking oh no.
And
And
that's
by the way,
thing
this is
too. Mm.
it's an early access. It's a $30 game. $30
Oh, you pay
versus
$70 now for a Pokemon game plus the
for the
DLC.
DLC. The DLC.
Plus, you
is
have to
like
have your Pokebank account paid for or whatever.
Yes.
So
And that's
Yeah.
transfer.
truly $5 every 3 months that I'm throwing away, Mike.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So you're getting way more content in this $30 game than you're getting in these mainline Pokemon games that look like shit. They can say, "Oh, we're on the Switch, so we don't have great graphics." That's bullshit because you can make
That's
Breath of the
bullshit.
Wild on the Switch. You can
Yeah.
make a good Pokemon game.
This is the problem, I think, is it's Game Freak, right? Like Nintendo proper, like they're pretty serious about their main IPs and making them good. That's why you get a Breath of
Yeah.
the Wild or like a Mario Odyssey or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah,
But Game
Mario and
Freak,
Zelda, they have very high bar of quality for those
yeah, they're
games.
not like we look at it as a big Nintendo franchise, but it's not first party. So Game Freak's just half-assing it. It seems like
And there's no reason for it because, like I said,
exactly.
it's the most profitable IP in the world. There's no excuse not
It's
to make
spitting in the face of the fans.
good
I say,
games.
you're right, Jacob. Play Palworld, everybody.
Yeah, but it's like the whole Madden thing where it's like there's no reason to change because
There's
people
no
buy that
competition.
garbage anyways. Yeah.
Yes.
But
So
now,
as long as people keep buying the new Pokemon game every time, they're never gonna improve.
But now at
But
least there's
yeah,
competition
Palworld,
because you know, NFL only one person can have the license, but with this
right?
type of game,
That's why you make these pals. They're not Pokemon. They're pals.
They're now litigious wise,
Pals.
Jacob.
Yes.
I obviously so many people got to Nintendo and were like, "Have you seen this fucking thing?" All these, very
Yes.
upset
They put out.
fans.
Yes.
They put out a statement that was basically like, "We're aware of it. We're keeping an eye on it."
We're
Now,
looking into it. I don't think they're going to do anything because
okay,
there's nothing. There's been a lot of debate of like, are these plagiarized? And you're talking about where's the line in
the
plagiarism? You
character
can make
models and
these
stuff.
knockoffs some people are saying, oh, well, they stole direct character models where they're lining up the wireframes and saying these are too close to each other. This is
There's
obviously
no
plagiarism.
way. If they had done
Yeah.
that game wouldn't survive 2 seconds on the
No.
game
Right.
store.
Well, that's the thing
You'd
is they
find
would
the
have been
file
sued
leaks.
before it
Yes.
came out.
True.
So that's why I
Yes,
think they're not going to do
100%.
anything about it. And there's also this other
Wow.
controversy where people, based on nothing, were saying that they used AI generation in this game. There's zero proof of that, but for some reason that's a rumor that got started. You
Oh
could
yeah.
not make this game with AI. I don't understand that
To
rumor at
make
all.
the monsters?
Characters, I
guess so, yeah. But it's
Okay.
like I don't know. It just seemed like someone made it up, and then that got passed around on the internet, and people thought it was legit. But there's absolutely zero proof of any AI in this game. So it is what
I'm
it
all
is. Not to
for
defend
it.
it too much. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's a great
Like,
game.
Super pro.
Yeah. Not for
Yeah.
the AI allegings. I'm saying I'm all
No.
for this game existing as a competitor to Pokemon, and it has.
And again, for a $30 early access game, it runs remarkably well. I haven't really had any bugs. Like it runs like a dream. I'm just so
You
surprised.
said your PC.
Yeah, I'm on PC, but even
Mhm.
compared to Arc back in the day, where I had a lot of problems even getting that to run a lot of the times,
Yeah.
this game runs so smoothly. I could not believe it. And obviously, you can play co-op with your friends online. You can play single player. There's going to be PvP and PvE and everything eventually. Once they add, it's still in early access, so they still have a lot of things to
Yeah.
add. But the basic core,
Loop is fun.
things are there, and you can see that it's already very polished.
Is this one where you're able to catch the human beings too in the world? Have I seen that?
You can catch the humans, yeah. With
I saw somebody
Pokeball.
catch a human and then sell it for $500. The human's worth 500.
No, you
Pal
cannot.
points.
No,
You
you
can.
cannot.
You can
sell
sell your
people.
extra Pokemon, or you can put them in this machine that'll combine a bunch of low-level Pokemon and make a higher level.
Which is a persona
pal.
mechanic,
Yeah.
Master, please don't put us in the machine, Master. Is it balls, Jacob? You're catching him in balls?
It's pal spheres, they're called. Yeah.
Of course.
I love it.
Pal spheres, not Pokeballs, pal spheres.
No, pal spheres.
You know what?
We need to start calling Pokemon pals.
Yeah.
But it's great. And it really, honestly, the makers of Ark Survival Evolved have more of a case of,
oh, I'm sure,
you stole this from us, because it literally is like, and even Elden Ring, like you remember the Ever Jails or whatever in Elden Ring?
Yeah.
Sure.
Literally the same asset is in, so I don't know how they got away with that. The
What?
circular like thing with
That's
the floor,
wild. Yeah.
to fight bosses. Yeah. So I'm not sure how they got away with that, but if you look at it, I mean, the Breath of the Wild, the environment is so Breath of the Wild. You can hang glide.
Oh wow.
When
They
I'm
did
out here
just do an
catching
Everjail.
Pokemon, yeah, and I'm catching like I get my Meowth, or my off-brand Meowth, who can
have
like
Meowth at
improves
home.
my inventory space. I'm like, I found this one that has Mine Foreman as a special thing, so it's like extra good. So this is my mining cat that I just bring everywhere when I want to go mine stuff, because it gives me extra inventory space.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob, let's get to work here.
But I love it. There's a
Hold on.
Pokemon there's a pal that I just caught called Digtoise.
Oh my
Dig
It's
god.
Twice.
a giant turtle like Blastoise, but it's brown and it's used for like
It's-
digging minerals and stuff, and it's called
You
should-
Digtoise.
Dirty water instead of clean
Yeah.
water.
It's groundwater. It's Michigan
Sorry,
water.
that's my waste. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a fascinating game though, and I mean, again, if Pokemon had a game with these gameplay mechanics with licensed Pokemon, it would sell. It would be the highest selling game of all time.
Because this is like Fortnite. I mean, it just sounds like you're capable of doing so much inside the world, and like it will be worked on and tweaked and, just upgraded consistently, that you could just see it, being played forever. And if Pokemon had something like that, you wouldn't then buy the next dumbass piece of shit game where they go, but the mouse is pink in this one. You go,
Right.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, if there's an official Pokemon version, people would buy that, of course, because they want the nostalgia of the original Pokemon and everything. But for me, I don't have that sentimental attachment really to Pokemon. So I'm like, these off-brand motherfuckers, I don't care. Like, these guys are my pals.
Yeah,
I love
this
them.
Pikachu. It's a little kangaroo. I don't know, like something like that.
Yeah, Pikachu.
That's what I want.
Pick up your minigun. Pick
Yeah.
up your assault rifle and let's go.
Let's go.
It is funny though
Pikachu.
that like the whole Pokemon with guns thing, it's a little overblown, because you can't even get guns like at first. Like you have to work your way up to iron and gunpowder and
course.
guns and all that. So you're
Oh,
starting with
gosh.
bows and arrows and spears and stuff, you know. So guns are a mid-game thing to end game.
Why has this
Gotcha.
happened to you? Who has taken you to the PAL dimension, punished you to?
I don't know. We
to-
start on this
to-
island. Again, it's very Ark Survival Evolved. If you've ever played that game, it's very, very similar. Where you wake up on a beach, there's these Pokemon looking at you, and they're like, "All right, go build a base, go catch some Pokemon, and work your way up, fight some bosses, and yeah, it's a lot of fun." Especially for
Man.
someone like me who loves those kind of games. If you don't like that kind of game, it might not be for you. There's no story really to speak of. There's like audio logs that you can collect around the world that like give some world building, but I don't really care about that. I'm just crafting and mining, and that's what I like to do. So
You're kind of selling me on it.
I'm in.
I'd love to play
actually.
with some friends because you can share your server code and you can all be on the same
Build a base.
island together.
So we could ditch Minecraft server, just be palling around Palworld.
Yeah. I mean, this
Those
is
would be
something I always
fun.
wanted to do with Ark, where, I mean, Ark is just like this with dinosaurs.
Right.
I always wanted some friends to play Ark with, but it's not, a lot of my friends don't have the same kind of interest when it comes to games. But yeah, if I can get some friends in on Palworld, I would love that.
That's the animal slavery is what's really drawing me in. Like, I'm
Yeah.
ready to have some
Forcing these
labor, some
Pokemon
free
to
labor.
work for you.
Yes.
And they do get, like, they lose sanity over time as they work for
Oh
you.
my
where they're
God.
Like, these are oppressive working conditions. They have
Lose
to take breaks.
sanity.
So you need to not
Yeah.
give them a gun, and they'll
that
Persona
mean?
3. Yeah.
You
This
got to
is
keep them happy
bullshit.
because they'll be unhappy and then they'll stop.
Hey, you
working.
guys saw that water fountain I put in, right? Keep it
No,
up.
my greatest
Yeah.
fantasy, and this is to build up a great workforce. We're going to have the greatest quarterly income ever, and then I'm just going to fire everybody and give myself a bonus. I need to see what that feels like.
Right.
It must be great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
You're just
open
always leveling
Palmazon
up,
warehouse.
And we'll give them a pizza party when they do a good job. No
And
raises.
you're just going out, you're catching
No
new
bathroom breaks.
pals, putting them to work at your base, leveling up. I mean, the gameplay
Yeah.
loop is very addicting. I've played, I want to say like 40 hours now, just because
Oh, wow.
I've been so obsessed ever since I got it.
No
It's
kidding.
been detrimental to my health and my sleep schedule
Mhm.
a little bit because I've just been addicted to it and playing it at night, which is never
Mhm.
good.
Mhm.
And I knew that was going to happen before I bought the game, but then I bought it anyway, and I said I'm probably going to end up fucking up my sleep schedule.
That's
But
what this style does to you. It seems like every time one of these comes out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
I was
Palworld. Yeah.
Yeah, I was not on board until after you mentioned this. So there you
Because
go.
all the media stories are like either A, about the plagiarism thing, or B, just calling it Pokemon with guns. A lot of people aren't really talking about the gameplay of it and
That's what I wasn't
like
sure
about it.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So-
Okay. Because I am kind of in between games here to jump in. I just finished the Cyberpunk 2077 DLC, The Phantom Liberty,
Mm,
with Idris Elba. It was very good.
nice.
There's like a couple endings, so I'm working through the ones that I haven't done for that DLC yet. But the first playthrough was really, really good. Good story. It's like good, 6-7 hours of extra content.
This is timeline wise post how 2077 ends.
So this takes place
concurrently.
concurrently.
Okay.
So
Because
Like
the
you just
ending of that
started.
is
you
very
beat
definitive.
this. Yeah, you beat
okay.
this, and then you can finish the main game.
Okay,
So that's because
gotcha.
it's separate circumstance. But there is one ending that if you do a certain path in Phantom Liberty, it adds a new ending to the base game.
Mm.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's one I haven't done yet, but because I followed
I do
my
like
heart.
that I read that there's like one mission that you can do right in the beginning where if you say no or something, then the whole DLC just gets locked off because you said no, basically.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
You
just
just
doesn't
fail that
happen.
mission.
Yep.
I like that. Yeah.
You don't take the job, essentially, is Jason
Right.
Statham. So I guess there's
Uh-huh.
another ending even. But that was really good. They overhauled the systems. You have to like re-level up
Yeah.
your character. You can re-roll your perks at any time. And I think once per character, you can redo all your base stats. So you can kind of respec it a lot easier.
I've played a little bit I haven't bought the DLC, but I've played since the 2.0 update where they
Mhm.
rebalanced a lot of the game systems, the way the police interact with you, the driving, like pretty much every
the
system in
vehicle
this game has
combat's
been,
good now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
game
overhauled
is
and
fixed.
readjusted. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Which
really,
kind
really
of bummer
fun
because
still.
that I played the game so much before this update. I would have liked to like experience this for the first time as this game.
As a good game.
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
this
even
could
the
have just been the
police
game that they
system works.
released when it came out, but yeah.
Yeah, but I'm glad it's in that state now. And yeah, it does suck because I finished every single mission, and they've added some stuff that I haven't finished yet. But it's like I have nothing to do once I beat the DLC except beat the
No.
game. And it's
Right.
like, well, so either I start over or
Random
Whatever.
cop cars as you're driving around.
what
or
I
So
do
the
something.
now
video game
is-
industry sucks and
right.
is bad, so that's the way things work, right?
Right. No, but what I do now to keep myself entertained is I got a motorcycle, a Kusanagi Peacekeeper. It's, another Akira style bike, but I just drive around looking for gang members. And I get off the bike and I say, "You guys being peaceful
'em
over
up.
here?" And and then I wait until they get annoyed and pull their guns on me, and then I have to pacify them. But we're like doing
Damn.
Batman basically. We're just going around finding
Jesus.
crime to punish.
But
There's
you're like
nothing to do.
goading the criminals into
Yeah.
attacking
You're the
you. so there's a
Punisher,
reason
Mike.
to-
I'm just standing there asking
Luring
if they're
them
being
into a death
peaceful.
trap.
And then, they get
Hey.
hostile. But there are sometimes I find them and they're having like a block party with non-combatants, like just normies. And they're just like
Yeah.
dancing. And I'm like, all right, carry on. Y'all have a good party. And I'll just leave
Fucking
them.
Grim Reaper keeps driving.
Yeah.
God, Jesus Christ.
I like
There's
that.
there's nothing to do. But yeah. Good game though. And then Resident Evil 4 DLC. I beat that too. It's very, very good. It's the Ada Wong Separate Ways stuff.
Oh, I recently bought Resident Evil 4 on PC because there was a Steam sale during the holidays, so I bought a couple
Nice.
things on sale, and so RE4 I started that a little bit but didn't get too far into it.
Nice. It's good. It's kind of spooky.
Yeah.
The Ada
spooky.
Wong, is this the DLC exclusive to this remaster version, or was this in the GameCube version?
This was in the original. It was like in a
Okay. Is this like
special
the
edition.
rocket launcher version? Is that what I'm thinking of in my mind, where you just kind of go around with that?
No, you can get one, but that's like in DLC. You can eventually buy the Infinite Rocket Launcher. Just like base game.
That's what it is. Okay.
You can
yeah,
get
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
That's what you were speedrunning with in 3, right?
yeah, and 4
That's
you
right.
do it too. That's the best. But
Yeah.
it's like a
I'm just
lot of
out here
money.
trying to save Ashley Biden, trying to save the president's daughter.
Yep.
Hey,
Holy shit, you
Leon
fucking
Jack.
did it.
Calling in, checking in. Hope my granddaughter's doing good. Hope you hear him slurping some ice cream in the background.
Have you seen
You're
those
like,
animations?
Motherfucker calling me? No, I have not.
Yeah.
Somebody made like Biden AI voices with Leon. Holy shit, Leon, you fucking saved her. I couldn't believe it. It's really
You gotta
good.
get out of that village, Jack. Scary. Those people are scary.
Crazy cultists. It's wild.
Big guy with a chain.
Yep.
Big guy with a
Someone
chain.
should, but someone needs to show Joe Biden this game so that he gets scared of the La Plaga.
Las Plagas.
Yeah.
Las Plagas, man. That's the next quarantine. We gotta get that.
I want every audio log from your handler in this to be replaced with AI Joe Biden saying the same dialogue. Like,
That would be
give me
amazing.
that Biden
I
mod.
wish.
All right, Jack, you gotta look out. I think Mendez is coming back. Like, okay. And
Love
He
it.
thinks his name is Jack Kennedy.
yes. He keeps calling me Hunter. Says, good job, son.
Hunter, you're on that
son.
special assignment. You got to get that laptop back.
Yeah, get
No,
a
it's,
laptop.
it's your daughter. Right.
You know what I mean? Oh, that's funny.
That needs to be
Wow.
a mod or something.
I need to find that, yeah. But
Yeah.
that's good. I've also been playing Aliens Fireteam again because we beat Gears 5.
Oh.
We were looking
Aliens
for a 3-player
Fireteam
game.
Elite. I saw that you were playing with
Leroy, Chris,
friend
friend
of
of
the
the yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
yeah.
So we're looking for
Very
something,
nice.
but maybe I'll check out Palworld as your recommendation. But that's what I've been
Palworld.
playing.
If I can get some friends on Palworld, we can get in the same island and fucking build up a sick base where we make all our Pokemon work for us. I
Heck
mean,
yeah.
That's the dream.
Uh-huh. That is the
That's
dream,
right
indeed.
there.
In our pal spheres. All right. Anything else to touch on here before we bounce on over?
No, I
Let's
think we
go.
got a quick little segment next. Let's hit
Mm.
that.
Oh, I'm stoked. All right.
We're back here on Normies Like Us, talking Whatcha, what we've been watching.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to do a segment because as we've been talking about for these Whatchas every 10 episodes, we've been trying to cook up to maybe do some special stuff before we get to 300. I've been
Mhm.
inspired by Jacob's Cobb quizzes.
Yes.
So I've been cooking
Oh.
up some fun little segments. So we got one here.
Wow.
this is just conversational. It's not competitive in any kind of way. You guys are not going to be up against each other. It's
I'm
called
gonna make it
follow-ups. Maybe a little bit.
I'm gonna follow up so much better than you.
It's called follow-ups. I've got a bunch of topics of episodes that we've covered here where, as we've been covering them, when the episode's done, I think, ooh, I never got to ask those guys that specific thing. So this would be a follow-up for that. And I would ask if you guys got any that you'd want, go ahead and throw them out too while we're talking about the topics. But as an example here, just to start, I think here's a good one. Now, Jacob, you brought Doctor Who to us. Doctor Who, we did a great Doctor Who episode. My audio was caught in a TARDIS, unfortunately, but I think otherwise it turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask on that one, because things we never got into in that was, how about this? If you guys were a companion to the Doctor, where's the first place you make him take you in history? Whether it's the past, future, an alternate timeline. We didn't discuss anything like that.
Because you can go forward in time. You can go to space age civilization type stuff. You can go back in the past, meet some historical figures. They do it all, So.
Alternate timelines. Do you go to? Are you someone, Jacob, who does a Rick and Morty thing where you're like, well, I'll just go to Pancake World and blah blah blah.
Well, there's an alternate dimension that they did go to, and then Rose got stuck there, and that's how her arc ends as a companion, where she's just trapped in this alternate reality. So I probably would want to avoid that. But I don't know. Yeah,
you have a favorite time period in histories?
I would maybe go see a samurai or a ninja, just real quick. You don't want to hang out there too long.
Yeah. Well, generally they'll go back, they'll meet some famous person, and then something supernatural will be going on that will later be explained by aliens. So like they'll go back and meet William Shakespeare, and there'll be witches, and they'll be like, oh, these witches are actually aliens. So
gotcha.
You probably go back to samurai times, and there'll be some kind of samurai ghost monster, and then they'll be like, no, it's really just an alien.
It's really an alien.
A sword.
They talk about a yokai. This Tengu.
Okay.
Honestly, that seems like a good episode.
But I think it would be cool to go back to medieval times.
Yeah, I want to see a castle. 1992.
See some jousting.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah. To start the episode with, take me to medieval times, and then he walks you out in Anaheim, California in like 2006, and he's like, here we are.
Yeah. Here it is.
Like,
and then they do the pirate episode, and he just walks you across the street to the pirate adventure.
There.
Oh, that's very funny.
Yeah,
I have an affiliation for or an affinity for the Old West, but then of course my theory does stand that horses killed Superman, so I am scared of horses. So I'm not positive I'd want to go there. I don't know.
There's an Old West episode where the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, goes back to the Old West, and there's like a RoboCop trying to kill some people there. So that's a pretty interesting episode.
Oh, interesting.
Not a Terminator, a RoboCop?
It's kind of a Terminator / RoboCop.
If it goes back in time, it's a Terminator.
It's called the Defenestrator. He just throws you out a window.
He's like an android that looks like RoboCop.
Gotcha.
But basically, there's some aliens hiding out at this Old West town trying to hide from this RoboCop, and this Old West town has to protect them. It's an interesting episode.
What do they call the cops in England?
Bobbies.
Oh, so it's like
Bobbies.
a cyber Bobby.
Cyber Bobby.
Yeah.
Instead
of course, the TARDIS is famously a police box from the 1960s England. Yeah, where it got stuck on its
setting,
camouflage, right? So it was blending in, but then it just got stuck as a police box.
There's several time periods I would go to. I think I would like to go to the medieval time. I would like to see ancient Greece at its peak, wear a toga, to sit around and think about. You ever think about thinking, guys? It's like,
yeah.
Does the Doctor give you a thing so that you can hear everybody or whatever?
Well,
does he
I'm
say
glad you
that
asked,
shit?
Colin.
Okay.
The TARDIS has a translation. It translates for you, so it's got like a universal translation.
If you're in it,
even if you're around it, if it's working properly, you could be anywhere, but it'll just work. So that's how they explain that.
Cool.
Yeah. But sometimes when the TARDIS, something happens to the TARDIS, and then they can't understand aliens because the TARDIS is broken or malfunctioning or something.
Questo, and you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
But actually, I would prefer. I would like to just go to the future and go to a time when in Doctor Who universe, basically humans have mastered space flight in the future, and they're a truly planetary or solar system-y species now. They don't just remain on Earth, so they're all over the place. So there's a lot of future episodes that take place in the future involving humans in space flight and stuff. So
Yeah, I would like to get me to a Star Trek civilization period. Like, yeah, let me see what that's like.
Plus, that would be a good way to get around the whole like if I wanted to like investigate like my parents' past or something, it's probably not a good idea to like go to the 1970s or something. But if we went to the future where I could just like Google like somebody's entire life, I'd be like, oh, okay, let me just like watch this or whatever.
But also, if you're hanging out with the Doctor, I mean, he's got some rules about like you can't interact with your past self and that kind of thing. Normal time travel stuff. You don't want to create a paradox, of course, but you know, there's some very strict rules about what you can do in the past. So you got to be careful.
I could go watch Alita play motorball or something. That would be sweet, you know?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I feel like if he gives, how often does he give you the keys to the kingdom to say like you're the companion?
Well, it's usually like an attractive woman in her 20s.
So first off, none of us are making
not allowed.
Like one episode a season or more often than that.
What do you mean?
Like, is he like, if the first thing he's like, okay, Colin, you tell me, where are we going? And I'm like, let's go check on young me. And he's like, that's kind of selfish. We're done. You're like, get out of the TARDIS.
He would do that. Yeah. If you do something to piss him off, he will be like, all right, you're done. Get the fuck out.
God, yeah, that's fucking rough too, man.
Yeah. You got to be on your best behavior with the Doctor.
So would you rather be companion with the Doctor or Q from Star Trek? Who would be more chill?
He's just getting into some shenanigans. He's like the Master and the Doctor, where he's kind of not evil, but he is, you know, he's doing things. He's always pissing off Picard, right? Where he's getting into shenanigans. Goofing. Picard's like,
yeah, but the Doctor's keeping you in a pal sphere. Like you're his Pokemon, and you're like, oh, all right.
You can leave anytime you want, if you don't want to go on crazy adventures. And usually the companions are like, all right, I'm done. Like, your life is too crazy for me. I'm going back to a normal life after a while.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Get out of your system. That's a good question.
That's the tragedy of the Doctor. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's say successfully we TARDISed it up. I'll move on to another one here.
All right.
So Rebel Moon, we mentioned it earlier. Zack Snyder's stunning epic. Here's just a clarifying question I need from you guys. I need an expert's opinion here. Why is it called The Child of Fire?
Because she's a child of fire.
I go why.
So who is the Child of Fire? I would also like that
I think it's
Stephanie.
It's what's her name? Cora or whatever. Is her name
it's Cora. Yeah, because she was picked up by main bad guy in a battlefield where the whole town was on fire. Right?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
She's born in fire and blood.
Okay.
And she was going to fire a gun at him.
She's the Scar Giver. So you guys are saying both the movies are named after the one character?
Oh, well,
yes, the Child of Fire is also the Scar Giver.
Fire is the second movie.
What?
No, that's the first one.
Oh,
Scar Giver is the second.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they're named after the same character, which sounds correct. Well, you know,
boy.
Let me just say, A New Hope is Luke, and Return of the Jedi is Luke. The Empire Strikes Back is different.
Yeah, I guess
the Phantom Menace.
I think The New Hope is just the rebellion, don't you think?
Just I guess so. Yeah. You're right.
I mean, they blow up the fucking Death Star at the end.
That's where the hope is.
We got a new hope.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but also it wasn't called A New Hope until the sequels came out, and they're like, we need a subtitle for this.
I think Zack Snyder is the type of person that would name two movies after the same character.
Yeah, and he's like, it's the most important character. Well, we're like, so who like
tell me her origin out of the way
about Cora? And he's like, well, I can tell you two things. She's the Child of Fire, and she's the Scar Giver.
Oh, cool. That's pretty much all I need to know.
What the fuck does either of those mean?
The Child of the Fire, the
princess,
the king's daughter who can like heal birds and shit or whatever.
Maybe it's Jimmy. Maybe Jimmy's the Child of Fire.
Maybe it's Jimmy.
It's not robot Anthony Hopkins, that's for sure.
No, that's Jimmy, isn't it?
That's Jimmy.
Oh, that is Jimmy. Okay, I hate that movie.
It's either it's Dario Naharis or the other Dario Naharis, I think.
This movie has stayed in our minds.
Yes.
We know that for sure.
I literally
about it
thought
every
about the
day.
heated up swords yesterday. I
Did
was like,
you?
those are kind of neat. That's all it
Those
was.
were just going to be lightsabers when this was a Star Wars property, right?
But I like
Nemesis.
superheating metal and having to have robot hands to even hold them. Like that's one neat idea, But
It is,
wouldn't you just have a
Mike. I give you
handle?
that. It is one neat idea.
that's all I can think about that movie. Like that was pretty neat.
But why wouldn't you just have a handle that's not hot, and you can hold that part with your
Yeah,
normal
but
hands?
But
what if
or
the whole thing got hot?
yeah, because how do you heat it up if you're not touching it?
You can have a rubber handle that doesn't get hot.
You
I don't
should
know.
throw
That's
it
not
at
badass.
somebody. Nobody's gonna be able to catch it.
That's what I mean. Yeah, then
That's
nobody
true.
can wield your weapon, so that's
Yeah.
useful. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, one
Okay.
neat idea. Rebel Moon.
I feel inconclusive on what we've come to there, but I
Yeah,
appreciate.
I'm looking
the thought.
forward for.
I think it has
part
to be
2.
Korra.
And we're all gonna watch it and do an episode. So.
What if part 3 is just called Korra, Jacob? You're like, oh, all of
the
them are
Legend
named
of
after
Korra?
her? Yeah, the
Yeah.
Legend of Korra.
Oh my God, he would. And he'd sue to try to be like, no, I need it. I need that title.
Yes, he would.
This is important. Oh man.
All right, that was Rebel Moon. Let's move on to now. We got Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh fuck
It's our
yes.
big wrap up to the end of the year. Here's something we didn't talk about that I want to know from you guys. What does the Muppet of you look like? Describe
Ooh.
the Muppet of you. What is the color felt that you
Probably just
are?
looks like me.
Well,
but a Muppet.
is he a little tan little peach boy, Jacob? Are you blue? Do you have a little job like Beaker and Mr. Honeydew or whatever that guy's Professor
Ah.
Honeydew?
I would want to be like
Yeah.
a weird color and like just be like a weird animal type, like a Muppet, but not like a human Muppet, like a weird animal Muppet. Not animal, the Muppet.
Yeah, what's
but
the name of that human one that you keep? The new one, Patrick or whatever the hell his name is. I hate that
Patrick.
guy. If I had to look like Patrick, I'd be so mad.
No,
I
yeah, I don't
forgot
want to
about
look
Patrick.
like Bert and Ernie or whatever. I want to look like
Yeah.
a monster. Yeah,
Like a Grover?
maybe like a Grover. Yeah, Grover's pretty chill.
Yeah.
I'd probably just slide a trash can up, move in next to Oscar, and just be really grumpy
Mike the
all the
Grouch.
time. It's
I'd
a
probably
sad
be
boy.
dirty. I'd probably be a dirty little guy.
Probably live
Yeah,
in a
it's,
trash can.
yeah, that's what I can afford. You know what the rent is over there?
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you see the Elmo asking if everybody was okay or whatever on Twitter?
Yeah, I
And
didn't like
Larry
that.
David choking him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on
Yeah.
Larry David's side.
Right.
Larry
don't need
David
to-
said, "You need to stop talking about mental health," is what he screamed at
Yeah.
Elmo.
I don't need
is
Elmo to ask me about my mental
horrifying.
health.
But it's just wild that we have Sesame Street being like, "Hey, are you doing all right?" It's like an
Yeah.
alarming state of the world. But
No, Elmo, I'm not doing great, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I
Elmo, I
guess
can't
got
afford
that-
groceries, and I'm scared that the president's gonna die any day. There's
And that's-
nothing you can do to help me, you little red bastard.
That's why I would have the trash can. But I guess I mixed it up because
Yeah.
that's not technically a Muppet. So
Now,
Well, the
Mike, an
Sesame Street
interesting
was
thing
done
would be,
by
and yes, they
Henson's, right?
100% count as Moe's, but it would be an interesting if like Grover was like, or not Grover, Groucho, what
Oscar.
the hell's the one?
Groucho.
Groucho Marx.
Yeah,
If
no.
Oscar was like, ooh, the neighborhood's getting like kind of seedy, and you just saw me in a box, like in like a cardboard box, just like sleeping next to him, you'd be like,
Yeah.
ooh, oh,
Yeah,
Can't even
yeah,
afford
yeah.
a trash can.
no.
Yeah, no.
I would be like a Gonzo. I'd be
Yeah,
like one of them
okay.
Gonzos, I'd have a long nose and stuff.
We did learn what his species is at one point, but I forgot what it was.
Yeah,
I
that's
think he's
like
a
an
he's a
alien.
thingamajigger or whatchamacallit.
Yeah.
I think I would be wearable, like a Big Bird sized one. And they'd be like, oh, put the Colin suit on. I'd be
Like
like,
Sweetums.
"Hey, how are you guys?
Yeah.
Like Sweetums.
I want
Or
the
like the
stick
ghost
on my
of
wrist. I want one of
Christmas
those.
Past. The Ghost
Yes.
of Christmas Present, which I thought was Sweetums, or I confused Sweetums for the Ghost of Christmas Present.
Listeners,
Right.
just know that conversation was not just held to this podcast. It did go on for at least 2 more days afterwards.
Yes,
Required
I apparently
visual
have Muppet
references.
face blindness.
You
Yeah.
fucking Muppet racist.
They're
Oh,
both like
man.
big guys that are a human in a costume or whatever, right?
You're telling me that's Sweetums talking to David Tennant? Like, like, no, it's not. We don't know.
That's
Yeah.
the 100. Oh
It
man.
must have been. Well, what's that? The Big Bird's friend that's like a woolly mammoth or whatever.
Oh, Snuffleupagus. Sure.
Snuffleupagus.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd be a Snuffleupagus.
Whatever the equivalent is of a Muppet Eeyore, the saddest one. That's what I would be. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah. No, instead of Elmo, I would just be emo. That would be it.
Yeah,
That would be the character.
yeah.
What if Elmo has a cousin named Emo that has like just some dyed black hair and
exactly.
fucking eyeliner and whatnot?
I think on Sesame Street there's like Gabby, the autistic one. I think I'd be Gabby.
Oh yeah, there's Gabby. Yeah.
Sure. Well, there's Bert and Ernie, the gay couple that live together and sleep in the same
They
bed.
can't afford their rent anymore either. They're dual income.
Yeah.
We're moving to West Palm. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Good for you guys.
Man.
Have you seen the rent on Sesame Street, man? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Bad.
It's one of the last remaining good streets in the USA. Of course it's going to be
Because it's so
expensive.
gentrified now. That's why.
Yeah. Brought to you by the letter G.
Yeah, fucking, there's a Starbucks on Sesame Street now. This is bullshit.
Uh-huh. Hate to see it.
Man.
PBS. That's funny. I guess we've...
All right. I
Puppet
accept
that.
all those answers.
Thank you.
Let's move on here to back to One Piece, an episode we did last year, which I talked a lot about the history of being like a periodical and a magazine that my brother would receive, and that's sort of how I got very into it. I want to ask you guys, what is your history with magazines? What were the magazines you got as kids? Game
Interesting.
Informer, Nintendo Power,
That's a great
Wizard,
question.
Toy Fair, Mad Magazine. Did you guys do any of those?
I did get Nintendo Power for a while. I was subscribed to Entertainment Weekly for a long time for some reason. I would just get Entertainment Weekly every
Those
week, I guess.
weird Stephen King opinion blogs where he'd be like, actually, this reality TV show is good. And you're like, what?
Yeah. Just trying to stay up to date on everything that's happening in entertainment, I guess. But I guess this was back when, now this has all been replaced by the internet, I guess, which is
It was the only place you
print
could get the
magazines are
info.
dying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mad Magazine, I would go to our local bookstore, Borders. I would go to Borders a lot on like a Friday night when I was younger. Like my family, we would just go to Borders and I would just hang out in Borders and I would just like look at the books and stuff. And they had like a magazine corner and I would read Mad Magazine, but I would just read it in the store. Sometimes I bought it. Sometimes I would buy the magazine just to read the whole thing. But I remember there was like a Lord of the Rings parody that I was
literally going to say, would you buy the ones that were good, better parodies in your mind or whatever?
Like Lord of the Rings when that came out, or Star Wars or something. I'd be like,
The Harry
Potter
Pothead ones.
Yeah, see what kind of crazy names they come up with for these guys. Yeah.
They had the Under the Sink potion making kit, I remember, from that magazine.
And sometimes they had some like naughty jokes that as a young 12-year-old or whatever, I was like, this is pretty racy. I'm going to have to check this out.
I like it.
That's funny.
You're ripping out the page in the Borders and stuffing it in your pocket. They're like, hey, you can't do that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
No, I get Game Informer, you get the demo discs every once in a while, then okay, pre-internet, what's going on with video games,
PSN,
Nintendo
PlayStation
Power.
Magazine. Yes, Nintendo Power for sure.
I was subscribed to Nintendo Power for a long time, and they would always have like some kind of poster or something. They would
fold out.
You could rip out and fold it out, and it'd be whatever game or whatever. So I had a bunch of those, and I would just put them up in my closet. So my whole closet was like wallpapered with these Nintendo posters. It was like, so that was a lot of fun.
We would ask the local video store when the movies were going out of rotation if we could have the posters when they were done, and they would call us. So I had a ton of movie posters.
I would do that too, and I would get my friend worked at a movie theater, so I would get a lot of free posters and stuff as well.
Yeah, none of you got to cut out a Keira Knightley.
No.
Nope. Didn't.
We do have a stand-up
Christmas tree.
There's a Cleveland Browns ex-player called Braylon Edwards, and we have a full-size stand-up of him.
I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put a Christmas ad on him, Mike.
It's true. We need the Christmas Braylon. My school friend had the Jurassic Park Pepsi Raptor, and I was like, "You son of a bitch, that's the coolest thing." But magazine-wise,
it was just a different time to be a kid and to get so excited because mail came for you. Do you guys remember that fucking feeling? I don't think that exists now because I just think there's a weird filtered process of like, I don't think like your parents are like giving you like the spam that came in the mail for you anymore. Like back in the day, like
No.
Colin, it's your birthday. Johnny's Toys, the local toy store, mailed you just like this happy birthday card. And I'd be like, oh, like how do they even
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that when you were a kid? Like I don't know.
Right. Well, again,
Yeah, it
this
was
is a
exciting getting that.
pre-smartphone era. So like print media has been completely replaced with the internet and smartphones.
Yes.
But when we were growing up, I don't know about you guys, we had one family computer that was in the family room
In our
Right.
basement, yeah.
in our
And
basement.
the
Yeah.
phone will be tied up
Yeah, we
unless
had
you have a second
dial-up.
line.
But so I really couldn't just browse the internet like I would do now, like browse Reddit or Twitter or whatever. So I would get
Yeah.
all my, news about like movies or whatever from magazines and stuff like that instead. So it was just a very different time.
But even
mean,
an
yeah.
old magazine for a car trip, Jacob, where you're like, I've read this Mad magazine, Lord of the Rings, a couple times, but like it's been a year. This might
Yeah.
hit a little different and like kill like the 20-minute drive or whatever, where you're like, fuck this thing. And you do it cover to cover. Do you remember?
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
you would
Yeah.
just read everything in it.
What I liked about the old game magazines too is they would like have the reviews, and they would have like before the reviews they would have like bios for the reviewers and like what type of games they like and are
Yes.
like little star. Like I like that you could kind of get a sense for who was reviewing your shit more easily, and it was just kind of, oh, that's the RPG guy, this is the JRPG guy, this is the fighting game girl or whatever, and I always thought that was kind of neat.
The other thing is I would get like Game Informer and I would just read about all the games that I know that I would never be able to
Ever.
play
You just,
because I was like, well, I
there's
don't
not
have
a
this
chance.
system.
Yes, exactly.
Well, like hearing about a new release in a magazine too, like here's 7 pages on Final Fantasy VII, you're like, fuck yeah, dude, let's
Yes.
Yeah.
tell me about how
I mean, that-
epic this is going to be.
Depending on when that came out, Mike, that would change what you would get for your birthday because you'd
Yeah.
be like, I'm fucking obsessed with this now. And you would just
Yeah.
pour over it.
It would
Yeah,
inform
but I
your
would just
purchase because you don't have a lot of trailers
Right.
on the internet. It's maybe a
No.
TV spot and the magazine. That's it.
Yes. One picture of Cloud holding up a giant sword, and you'd be like, oh,
Yeah,
what
and I would
is
read about a
this?
lot of those games, like 90% of them, knowing that I would never play them, and basically vicariously living through just reading about them and be like, man, that'd be so cool to play.
Mhm.
But I don't have that system because I didn't have a PlayStation for a lot of the time when I was younger. I had a GameCube and an N64, but I didn't have a PlayStation until I didn't have another system until I got Xbox 360, I think. So then I was able to play Xbox games. But for a long time, I was like, well, if it's not Nintendo, it's not coming out on the GameCube, then I guess I will just imagine what it's like to play that
We don't
game.
have Let's Plays. Like now you can just
Yeah.
watch a Let's Play of anything ever made, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Even
Or
Were you
even
guys-
just Game Boy games where I would be like, well, I can buy like 2 or 3 games a year. So I know I'm not going to buy this game for Game Boy, but it looks fun to play.
Were you
Mhm.
guys
Yeah.
big strategy guide dudes? Like, did you have strategy guides? Those Figma or
Sometimes,
what
yeah.
the hell were they called?
Prima.
Yeah. Prima,
Yeah.
thank you, Mike.
Yes, you're welcome.
I have them for like Pokemon, I want to
Mhm.
say, where they tell you like where all the cool things that you can get are and stuff. So
There would be selective ones. We'd have like the Final Fantasy VII one we had because there's a lot
Advance
there.
Wars. I
Well, you
one
had
for
to
Advance
unlock the
Wars.
2 characters, Mike, where you're like, I gotta
Yeah.
figure out how to fucking get Vincent and Yuffie. Like, this
What's
is bullshit.
the code
Yeah.
to the frickin' safe in Shinra
Or,
Mansion? I still don't
The
remember that.
one Final Fantasy game that I did play, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance for the Game Boy Advance.
The best.
One of the best.
Yeah. I had the strategy guide for that and
Nice.
Advance Wars, which is another fun game that I played a lot. So
We did for strategy for guides. I had early internet, right? Like we would go to like Game Facts. You remember that? It's
Yes.
still
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
User
'em off,
posts.
yeah.
Dude,
Yeah, so you print them, and I
a
had a
manila
binder.
folder. Yep, Mike.
Yep.
It's summer. I'm pulling out my GTA 3 code sheet. I kind of don't need to look at it anymore because I'm like
Yep.
L1, L2, L1, L2. You're just like jamming that out
Yep.
so fast.
Yeah.
God.
3-hole
get those
punch
cheat codes.
binder. Like I still have it in
Yes.
somewhere in my closet back home, like with my
I would
parents'
love
house.
to see
It's
that.
still in the
notes
closet.
on it.
Yeah, I gotta dig through that archaeology. It's pretty cool. But those were the
Good times,
days.
good times. It's just hard to imagine a time when you couldn't just pull out a little device from your pocket, and if you wanted to look something up, you could just Google it right there. It's hard to describe a time period when you couldn't do that, I guess, or it's hard to imagine.
Well, when you
it
would
now.
just kind of daydream, like literally, like
Mhm.
like I would just be bored sometimes. Like you'd
Just kinda
just sit in
staring
the
at the
car
wall
and be
thinking.
bored. Yeah, it's like I
Yeah.
don't know.
And you think
You had
about kids growing
downtime.
up these days, and
No.
they're all
Yeah.
addicted to their screens and stuff. It's just like, man, they can't even
Do you
comprehend how it
think
was in the olden
they
days.
let kids play on iPads and their cell phones in like church and stuff? Because it's just like how could you even fucking stop it at this point, right?
Oh man, I
I'm sure
wonder.
parents do, but
It
I don't know. You
depends.
gotta be not a super strict parent, but you gotta put limits on those things, I think.
It's like, look,
And
we're not
even
going to,
my
we're not going to
sorry.
lunch if you get on your phone, like something like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
it comes back to parenting because like my parents were very strict about certain things. Like I could only when I was much younger, I could only watch TV for a certain amount of
Oh
time per
yeah.
day and that kind of thing. And my
Mhm.
mom would like actually make me go. She'd be like, "Go play outside for an hour." And I'd have to go outside for an hour and go in the backyard and just play or whatever.
Yeah, they lock the door.
Because if she didn't force me to, I would never go outside because I'm a weird
It's
antisocial
the
person.
inside rules. It
Yeah,
has all my stuff.
No, we don't like the
yeah.
meat space, Mom. I don't want to go out
No.
there.
So I think if you have lax parents that don't care about that stuff, then yeah, it can affect you growing up, I think.
Well, the thing too is, I do find it fascinating living in the pre-internet, from magazines to this. Wow, but that's really what this is. It's like physical media to digital. The transition, just yeah,
Yeah.
you would go outside and like shit because there just wasn't. You couldn't spend an entire day necessarily
Oh yeah.
indoors. Like I did.
No, you
Yeah.
had to go outside. There was nothing else to
The
do.
cheat code was if we climbed a tree, we could sit up there and read. Like you could be outside and like do an inside activity if you
Mm-hmm.
were like actively doing something while you were outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
Sure.
yeah, sure.
But
My
riding
older
bikes and
brother,
building jumps and stuff, I'm like, dude, does Gen Z
yeah.
do
Yeah.
that or not?
Oh, God help me once fucking Jackass came around. How any of us
Mhm.
survived any of that bullshit.
No, we would
If we
run
would have
around
had
the neighborhood and
YouTube
do
though, we
crazy
would all
stuff.
been rich, I'm sure.
My brother
Or
was the
dead.
funniest though because he hated outside so much that he would just my mom would make him be like, "You have to go outside for at least an hour." He would just sit in the backyard, sit in a chair, and do nothing for an hour, just out of
Hour.
Yeah,
retaliation.
out
Which
of
he'd
spite.
just sit there. Yeah, but
Has
my
it been
brother's
1
kind
hour?
of crazy. Yeah, and then like exactly 60 minutes, be like, "Well, it's been an hour. I'm coming back inside."
I am legally allowed to watch Scooby Doo now. So
Yeah.
Yes,
you know.
I've served my time. That's funny.
Good times though. We would do lightsaber duels. We'd have these wiffle bats, and we
Oh
would do
yeah.
lightsaber duels with these wiffle
Mhm.
bats in the backyard for
We
for
would play
hours.
D&D. We called it D&D, but it was just basically LARPing with like
Yeah,
wiffle bats or whatever we could
Fire-
find. We just
fireball.
fireball, lightning bolt,
Well,
lightning
and
bolt.
again, this is privilege as a white guy. I can say this, but it's something we did. We had this entire sector of things that I don't think
Mhm.
any kids play with now out of absolute fear. We would do Nerf. We would just go outside and
Oh,
just fucking
sure.
shoot each other with Nerf
Yeah.
guns and stuff and just
Yeah.
run around.
Yep.
Well, nowadays, yeah, you can
No,
just
you're
be
not
shot by
fucking
police,
walking
but
with a gun in your hand anymore.
you
It's
have
like
that
Jesus
Fortnite
make sure you have that
Christ.
prominent orange tip so
No.
people know it's
Yeah,
fake.
yeah.
Even then, it's like sucker.
Yeah.
Your life is in
A
your
water
hands.
gun. Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
not even.
Fucking
Yeah,
super
times have changed.
soaker.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't
things
know
were
why
better back
criminal-
in our day.
yeah.
This
Probably.
turns into the old man yells at cloud segment. Let's do one more question here and then we'll
Yes.
go. And
Yeah.
hopefully, again, not just an opinion on time changing, but here's a subject: Pirates of the Caribbean, our long form
Mhm.
that we're covering right now. Something
Yep.
we have not yet discussed. That's a big franchise based on a theme park. Are you guys theme park guys? If you are,
Hmm.
what's your favorite ride? And what's a ride you think would make a good movie?
Oh, wow. That
I feel like
Tower of
most
Terror,
rides
duh.
rides are more based on movies than movies are based on rides, except for
Yeah.
a couple.
I like the
Disney properties.
backwards direction of that question. I am not a theme park person anymore, but it's strictly financial. Like
Yeah.
I like roller coasters. I like rides. I do not like standing in line. And I don't
Yeah.
have the funds to do fast pass every time I go. So I'm
Right.
like torn because I do enjoy
Yeah.
the theme park, but it's
Priced
like
out though.
yeah, you spend $100 to go on
That makes
3 rides.
sense.
That's not value,
Yeah.
right? So
I would
how
say
about
I'm not a theme park person necessarily, but I do I enjoy them from time to time. I went to Cedar Point as a kid a lot.
same?
growing up, and they have, that's one of the best roller coaster parks in America that I know
In the
of.
world for a while.
A
I
lot
think
better
so,
than
yeah.
Kings Island, probably, for you Southern Ohioans.
Kings Island was so dangerous. I have no
Son of
love
a
for that
beast.
place, dog. It's I've gotten the way my body and spine are curved is because of summers at Kings Island. So.
Wooden roller coasters specifically,
Wooden
a lot
roller
of
coasters are
scoliosis.
crazy. I mean, the Millennium Force was like an old school wooden one. I remember growing up was when Top Thrill Dragster was like the big new one that people were raving
I've
about.
done that
Cedar
one.
Point.
I've done that. Have we all top thrilled?
Iron
to me,
Dragon,
it's
is that
not
another one at that
It's
park?
not that impressive to
I'm
me.
not sure about Iron Dragon. It's just the
Iron
height. You can see
Dragon.
Canada from the top of it.
Is that
And it goes super
true?
fast.
Well, on a clear day, because it's right on Lake
Across
Erie.
the
For those who
lake,
don't
yeah.
know, it's over 400 and
Wow.
some feet tall. It was at one time the tallest roller coaster in the world, and it shoots you 120 miles an hour or
You
whatever.
just go up and then you come back down. It's
Come
not
back
that
down
bad.
and
Are you
spiral.
stand up too? Is it stand up
No, you're
style?
seated.
No, it's a sit
You
down.
are
But they do have
seated,
some of those
okay.
stand up ones, but those are the newer style roller coasters that are all loopy all over the place. Those are kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
But I like when the top thrill, because you get up on a clear day, you can see Canada over the lake, but you wait
Yeah.
all day, but then it goes, and sometimes it doesn't make it over the hill. So when we went, it didn't make it over.
Was that true?
And it failed back to the bottom. But the fun part is when they launch you. So it's like getting to ride
Yeah.
it twice. So I was like, I don't mind.
I think it
this
was
at
like
all.
the fastest roller coaster in the world at that time too. 'Cause
Yeah,
that
it
was
was a
the
big
big
deal.
selling point, is that it goes super fast, like a Top Thrill Dragster would, right?
Yep.
Um,
So that was cool. So I like that stuff.
But
I just don't
then,
like waiting in line.
yeah, and then living in California here, I mean, I live very close to Universal Studios, been there many times, and I've gone on every ride and attraction in Universal before,
Yeah.
Nice.
and I still like that. It's a good park. It's got a lot of fun things. It's very overpriced even just to hang out there and like get a tall boy. It's like $10. It's like
yeah.
insane prices for food and drinks. Of course.
I mean, I remember in the early 2000s just seeing $6 for a Pepsi in line or water, and it's like you're hostage here, and it's like that's expensive now, $6 for a soda, but like that inflation, like by scale, that's like $9 too. It's nuts.
Right. You can go
So
get
I don't
some
like the
Duff beer,
economics.
but I'm very sad that they're like taking The Simpsons out of Universal to add some to make that space something else, right?
Back to
Colin?
the Future is gone. It's no longer
That's been
the
gone,
Doc's chicken joint or whatever it was.
Right.
It
No.
then was turned into Moe's Tavern.
Which
Moe's
I
Tavern on the way out. Yeah.
I rode on the Back to the Future ride before it was turned into a Simpsons ride. It's that car
Yeah.
thing, right? I remember
Huh.
doing that when I was younger. But yeah, the whole Simpsons land is getting converted into another property. I forget what it is.
Minions, I think.
Minions.
Oh,
Is it Minions?
Yeah.
Fucking
It's
Minions.
crazy. The only thing Sony's done
Um,
besides Spider-Man's.
Yeah, but because the Simpsons rights thing is weird because it's Universal has like this
Yeah.
theme park thing, but obviously Simpsons is with Fox, which is now Disney, of course. So it's all, I think they're losing the rights to it too. So I don't know, but
You
Well,
love
and
it.
then you ask a casual fan. I mean, this is where truly like David Zaslav like occasionally has some points where he's like, we're fucking licensing out Harry Potter to Universal. You ask people, what production company made Harry Potter? They think it's Universal, and it's like,
Yeah,
no,
that's true,
like
too.
obviously yes, you're
Warner Brothers.
Max or whatever. Yeah, well, not anymore. Whatever the hell they
Mhm.
call themselves, whatever conglomerate they are. Yeah, there is that loss, and you would hope that they would build up their film history. So it's just strange. You'd think people would be
Yeah.
more protective of their theme park rights. I think that's going to come to bite a lot of people in the ass.
Yeah.
But Universal's a good park. I just went there somewhat recently when my family came out to visit me, and my sister and I, we rode every single ride and attraction that's possible. I actually
That's
really
cool.
like the
Funny.
Harry Potter one. Not that there's the Flight of the Hippogriff, which is a very short and lame roller coaster, but there's another one that's like inside the castle that's very cool.
Mhm.
It's mixing like screens and 3D with physical reality and stuff. It's pretty neat.
That's fun.
Then there's
Do
of
you guys
course
have a
Sorry.
do you guys have a dream one you would want to go to? Because obviously the Nintendo stuff's there, Jacob. I'd love to go to that.
I haven't seen the Nintendo stuff. I want to go to Legoland. I've never been to Legoland. I
Huh.
think that would be cool. I used to
I
like
think-
Legos when I was younger.
Yeah.
There's a very specific thing that I wanted to do, and it's how they do the Universal Horror Nights, and it's all the licensed
Yes.
movies and
I've
stuff.
been to that. Yeah.
I think I mentioned on one of our spooktaculars, but Japan occasionally will do Resident Evil Biohazard themed at their
Yo.
Universal Japan, and I would like to do that. That seems
That's
really
cool.
neat. Yeah. So
That's cool.
I remember we did the ET ride. This is my story. The ET ride in Florida. And you're waiting in line for hours, and I'm pretty young, but my younger brother, he hadn't been able to walk yet. And we get all the way up to the front of the line, and the people are like, "Can the baby walk?" And my mom's like, "Yeah, because fuck this. We've been here in line for 3 hours. Of course he can." We do
Good
the
work.
ride. And then that night in the hotel room, he takes his first steps because he's like, "I'm not going to make you out to be a liar, Mom."
Ah,
I can
so-
walk.
Can the
That's
baby
nice.
walk is burned into my head. My
Wow.
brain is the ET ride memory, but that's you're doing the whole
It-
escape from the FBI on the bikes kind of thing.
do you have the memory in your
sure.
mind, Mike, of the thing talking to you at the end where it says, "I will always be your friend, Mike"?
Michael, I do. It would say your name.
Michael.
Yep.
Michael.
Oh yeah.
Couldn't believe
And I
it.
have
love you,
done
Michael.
Michael.
I've done Universal in Florida, and I've done all the Disney parks in Florida as well in my younger days, and including I did the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, did the Haunted Mansion ride, did all that stuff. Epcot.
I guess the
Um,
goal is that
Busch
Mike and I
Gardens?
ride the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
we need to that I like that as a way to wrap up all of it. Go
Yeah.
ride the ride.
Go to
Legally,
Florida.
we have to.
I think you're right.
It's
Get all
not
the
that
Easter
great.
eggs.
It's like a river. It's like a river ride, and then you just pass.
I need to see the Salazar
stuff.
animatronic.
Well, I'm not a river guy, but my big
Mhm.
favorite ride style are log flumes, which I feel
Mm.
like are notoriously the worst because who wants to be wet?
wants to
like,
get wet,
halfway
yeah.
through your day? But I just always like
There's
the
a
drop or whatever.
Jurassic. And have you
Yeah.
done the Jurassic World
Yes.
one at Universal? That's like a
Not
water
since
ride.
they've rebooted it. Not since
Oh.
it's the new one.
When it was
Yeah.
Park. I see.
Yeah.
There's the Mummy Classic. Love that one in Universal. The Mummy roller coaster. Waterworld, the show. Love seeing Waterworld.
Man, still is
Jumping some
an
jet skis.
institution.
What deserves to be a stunt show now? I guess the John Wick stunt show would be cool, right?
Rebel
Wow,
Moon.
yeah.
The Rebel Moon stunt show. We learn why she's the child of fire and the scar giver.
I
That's right.
honestly,
Oh, okay.
the real one is Mad Max. If they can do Waterworld, just get some
Yo.
cars going, dude. They already have
I'm
Cirque du
shocked
Soleil
they've
people.
Never. That's awesome.
That's
That's
I
an
mean,
awesome
yeah,
Thank you.
Waterworld
pick.
is essentially Mad Max with water, right?
They have a
Which is
car
funny
with a
that the
flamethrower on
that
it.
the event is still going on when that movie was like a huge box office failure, like one of the
Right.
biggest of all time, notoriously.
Well, do you
right?
remember what it was before it was Waterworld?
Heaven's
Just-
Gate or whatever? Wasn't there one
What?
called Heaven's Gate that was like a big? I don't know.
No, it was Conan the Experience. It was Conan the Barbarian. Do you guys
Wow.
remember that show? Have you guys
I
ever watched
don't.
that on YouTube or something? It's pretty
Wow,
cool.
interesting.
No.
So that's a
Wizard,
cool
and he's like getting a sword, and there's like he's like shooting like fire like everywhere and stuff. It's kind
Yeah.
of like the medieval times show we went
Right,
to.
right.
Sure.
excellent.
I like the water because you got jet skis, you can jump things, you
Yeah.
can do explosions. People fall into the water and they don't get hurt.
Smokers.
Yeah.
I want someone jumping to and from vehicles that are moving and on fire.
There's just a lot more
Yeah.
potential for injury, I feel like.
Yeah, the
than
water's a
when
softer
water-
landing.
With
Yeah.
dirty sand everywhere opposed to the water. Yeah,
But you know
I think
what?
you're right.
You know what ride would make a good movie at Universal? That they have that Fast and the Furious ride. That would be a pretty good
Yeah.
movie franchise.
That would be cool.
an
That's
the Transformers?
An
Yeah.
FF stunt show is a really good idea too. They couldn't do. I mean, you couldn't
No.
do an actual car crash in front of people.
No, but like a drift
if
show,
you-
you could do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I told you guys they had that Fast and the Furious where
Laps.
Vin Diesel
Oh, yeah.
talks to you and says like, "Oh, we got to save the family" or whatever.
Right. No, but if they had a Vin Diesel look like come out and say, "All right, everybody in the audience, just want you to know that when you're here, your family." or whatever."
I
Say
would
back
love
to
that.
me.
I'd get some $10 tall boys and watch that in a
It'll be,
heartbeat.
it'll be
Like
nothing
E.T..
but Coronas.
Vin Diesel says your name, Jacob. You are all part of the family. Oh
Yeah.
shit, he said it. He said Jacob.
Give me the animatronic. Yeah, that's wild. That's fun.
All right, that was follow-ups.
Wow.
I like that. I thought that was a good segment. I'll
like that a
keep
lot.
some more in mind for future episodes. But right now, let's jump over to our final thoughts here on Normies Like Us. We're back here on Normies Like Us, wrapping up our first Whatcha of 2024 of the new year of our
Mhm.
special 281st episode. Oh my God.
Yes,
Wow.
we've made it. We're getting closer to 300. Incredible. Thanks, listeners.
Incredible. This
And I'd like
is
to-
podcasting.
This is podcasting. I like the follow-up segment, Colin. That was good. So thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I pray we come up with a better idea for 300 than where I think we're headed, but maybe
don't
not.
think-
It's a
I
pretty
don't think
good
there is a
idea.
better idea.
There's nothing else you can do. I think we need to
We
rent out a
love
whole
Zack
movie
Snyder.
theater and screen it
Yeah.
Yes, that's
for our
what we'll do.
friends.
We can invite Zack Snyder to be a guest on our podcast.
It's our 300 episode. We're covering 300. We kind of aren't positive to you a lot of the time, but we'd love for
Don't
you
worry
to
about
come
it, you know.
on.
We
You'd
think
be
you
like, "Huh?
seem
What
like
do you
a
mean?"
very enthusiastic, nice guy. We just
Yes.
not love your
Yeah.
work.
We've heard
But-
great things.
We can get Jerry
about you
Butler on the
personally.
podcast.
Yeah, we'll hang out with you. We'll invite
old
Jerry
That
Butler.
seems much more feasible, actually, Jacob. We tell
We
him
get
this
Cersei.
podcast is plain too. He's like, I'm there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Well,
No
as we're
shirts
wrapping
allowed
up,
on that episode.
Mm.
I
Well,
have
I
a
gotta start
quick
doing
segment
push-ups.
as well.
Oh yeah,
Hit us.
two
Um,
things I wanted to mention that I didn't mention. Right? Is that the name?
That's
Oh.
right. Well, two. I have one thing and then one other thing. Yeah.
So that's two.
First thing is
And
I
then
call
a Cobb's
this.
quiz.
Yeah. Buckle
yeah.
up.
Well, this is we're from time to time we've been known to be a little bit of sportos. So this is called
Mhm.
Jacob's Sporto Corner.
Ah.
I just wanted to ask you guys, obviously
Corner.
the football season, fantasy football, we love it.
Yeah, F1. I'm so
F1,
scared of how the Ferrari Mustang.
Verstappen,
Yeah,
Mhm.
boy.
The
It's the
Ferrari.
Michael
Mustang.
Jordan of Formula One drivers. The Super Bowl is next weekend, right?
That's right.
Yep.
You guys, what are your thoughts on? Are you picking a team? What do you think is going to happen? We got the Chiefs. We got the 49ers.
Can I ask you a quick question, Jacob? Because you
Yeah.
are the king of the prop bets, where you'll point out like
Oh
people
yeah.
bet on the coin toss, people bet on
Yes.
like
The
who,
color
what
of the
commercial plays
Gatorade,
first, like all
the
this stuff.
over under for the national anthem. Yeah, you
Are
can bet
there
on there.
Taylor Swift bets? I would
Oh.
imagine.
Oh, I'm sure there are. I'm going to have to look at some of these props. Here's the thing with the Taylor thing.
kisses, like that she'll like kiss him or something. Yeah.
Well,
what?
here's the
They get
question.
engaged if they win.
Okay,
well,
that's interesting.
The big
Yeah.
question is she going to be there? Because she is according to her schedule, she's supposed to be in Japan on tour during the Super Bowl. So the big question leading up to this is she going to cancel that tour day so that she can go to the Super Bowl and watch Travis
Oh.
Kelce? She might not even be there. She might be in Japan. She might
That's
fly
crazy.
back after her show because she
Okay.
has her private jet that she flies everywhere, right? So maybe, but we don't know if she's going to be there. So that's kind of the big thing with Taylor. Taylor watch, I call
Interesting.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
The sports
course,
corner.
she
First
just,
thing we address the Taylor watch.
this is the Taylor Watch Corner. She did just win a Grammy yesterday for Album of the Year. Who cares about the
Finally.
Grammys? I don't. But
Right.
she also announced a new album, so she's been in the news.
Oh, and
a
Jacob,
lot.
it's the
Yeah.
worst album title of all time. What is it?
Oh, the
It's
Dead
like
Poets Society or something.
it's like I'm the
Oh.
president of the Dead Poets Society. It's like a whole
Yeah.
sentence. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Well.
So the question is, is she going to be there? I say she flies. She has her show in Japan, flies
Yeah.
back, and flies
I think
directly
she's
to
there.
Las Vegas and goes.
You
to the
have
Super
enough
Bowl.
time on the flight to sleep and whatever too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they'll
So-
put her in the cryogenic chamber she typically sleeps
Ripley.
in, Mike. And
Right.
she's a little merge. Yeah.
But yeah, you can bet on
Exactly.
everything from the color of the Gatorade, the length of the national anthem, the halftime show. What song will Usher start the show with at
Oh, it's
halftime?
Usher is the halftime.
I
Usher
forgot
is
about
the
that.
halftime show. Yeah
Ah.
is the favorite. Yeah by Usher, right? That's a
Oh,
song.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm rooting for the 49ers because I hate
Same.
the Chiefs and I don't want an AFC team to win. So I'm rooting for NFC. But I have a feeling the Chiefs are going to win because Mahomes is the guy, right? He's
Very
that
talented.
guy. Yeah, he's pretty good.
The power of Taylor. We'll see. I am also 49ers. I like the Brock Purdy story, Mr. Irrelevant. Like get into lead a team, and I think that's cool. And
like
Christian
Brock Purdy,
McCaffrey
but-
deserves.
Yeah.
He's not game breaking, but I like the story of a guy who's literally
the difference
last.
between Mahomes and Purdy is just like too big of a gap, I think. And I think if the Chiefs defense shows up the way they did against the Ravens, there's no way the Chiefs are going to lose. But I want the 49ers to win.
But like if you put a Christian McCaffrey versus any running back on Kansas City, like that's where the swing
Yeah.
is. The skill players, all they have is
Yep.
Travis Kelce versus 6 dudes.
Isaiah Pacheco.
He's
no,
no
but,
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I would say Chiefs are going to win. Also, the NFL wants the Chiefs to win, and either way, the narrative is either going to be, if the Chiefs win, the narrative is going to be, oh, Taylor blessed them, right? And if they
Yeah,
lose, they're
right.
like, oh, Taylor cursed them. So either way, Taylor
Oh,
Swift is going
geez.
to be mentioned
Credited for
in the
the result.
narrative. So we'll see what happens, but
Oh,
that's
geez.
Jacob's Sporto corner of the week.
Hey, I appreciate
Super
that
Bowl.
addition.
And we got to do something for, maybe we'll have a get together or something for
To
the Super
watch.
Bowl
Yeah.
next Sunday.
Yeah. We're going to
We'll
invite
figure it out.
Gerard Butler and Zack Snyder too.
Zack Snyder. I would love it.
That's right.
300 reunion.
They call him Snack Snyder. He's going to bring all the Doritos.
Hey man, hey, he's my new favorite director. If so, that sounds
Yeah,
great.
he's got all the
Yeah.
glizzies and a blizzy.
Snack Snyder over here. Did you see what he brought?
I would love that.
Dude,
Hanging
the
out
crafty
with
table
Snack
on his shoots is
Snyder,
legendary.
eating
Yeah.
snacks.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask him so many questions about Rebel Moon.
Who's the child of
great.
fire?
So who
Can you
is the child of
clarify?
fire?
So
And
explain.
Who's
All
giving the
right.
scars? All right.
I'll just say real quick, great Rex on this Whatcha. I'm
Yes.
definitely walking away from this. Probably gonna check out the curse. That's
Same.
sounding the most interesting thing to me.
Check out the
Yeah.
curse. Also, yeah, I wanted to mention one other thing that I forgot to mention in the watching section. I watched this movie on Netflix, this animated movie called Nimona, that I thought was really nice, and I liked it a lot. So check that out. It's on Netflix.
Shark Girl, right?
I don't even.
Also, Chloe Grace Moretz, is that correct?
Yes,
Oh,
that's
well,
right.
there we go.
This was made by Skydance Studios, which was like a subsidiary of Disney that got shuttered like while they were making it. They made that like I Spy movie with Will Smith or whatever,
Oh,
where he like
right.
turns into a pigeon or
Oh,
something.
Yeah. Spies in Disguise. Yeah,
Spies in Disguise.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
good, but
No,
this
it was
movie,
not.
while it was like in production, like Disney was like, actually, it was almost a tax write-off where they're like, we're not going to release it. But
Mm.
then
Jeez.
Netflix stepped in, Annapurna Pictures and Netflix stepped in and were like, we'll take this off your hands. Released it as a Netflix original, and it was great. I was very surprised. I was not expecting really anything. I was like, this looks kind of fun. I'll check this out. It was really emotional, and it's like
didn't it take it probably took what was probably the Mutant Mayhem best animated picture
it was
slot,
nominated
right?
for an
I mean, it was
Oscar,
up there,
which
yeah.
is why I was like, I'll check this out. It's an LGBT story. It's like Nimona is basically a trans-coded character, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
It's not super spelled out, but I think that's what they were going for, and it's
Yeah.
really good without feeling like it's pandering. It's very emotional.
He's
So
like
I
a
loved it.
gargoyle.
She's like a
She's like
were-shark.
she's like a girl that can she's like a she can transform into different animals.
Oh, okay, not just
So
shark.
she's a
That's cool.
shapeshifter. But it's this weird, it's like medieval knights and stuff combined with like cyberpunk. So it's set in the future, but there's like knights and
What?
kings and stuff. Yeah. Riz Ahmed is like the
I
main
didn't know
character.
that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's really good. Check it out on Netflix. I just wanted to shout it out. I was surprisingly like it got to my emotions at a level that I didn't think.
Oh
And
wow.
I don't think it's going to win an Oscar because you got The Boy in the Hair and you got Spider-Verse, but it's been a great year for animation because I thought that was a blast. So shout out to Nimona on Netflix.
All right, yeah, nice. So we got Palworld, The Curse, and Nimona as I think
That's
our
right.
recommendations, and True Detective
That's what I've been
season
doing
1 and
recently.
Fargo 6.
Well, Nimona is
Yeah.
in Palworld. She's one of the pals.
Yeah,
That's
she's one of the
right.
pals. Yeah.
Yeah, she's one of the pals. Cool. Well, this has been good. 281 guys. Look at us. Who would have thought? Not me.
I'm proud of us.
281. Here's to 282. Am I right?
Absolutely. Here's the
Here's to one more,
282.
baby.
One more.
Next week is our last episode ever.
That's right. And Normies, before that episode, we'd love if you wrote in, told us whatcha you were watching as well. You watching anything? Are you listening to anything? You love that new Taylor Swift song. You got opinions on the Super Bowl. You want to put in a prop bet? Hit us up at Normies_like_us. Let us know.
Yeah, what's your favorite
us out on
Paramore
YouTube.
era, you know?
That's right. Check out that Burning Down the House Talking Heads cover. Some people didn't like it. I thought it was good. I liked it. So
Play The Sims
whatever.
2, listen to Pressure.
Weird.
All right.
All right. Otherwise, we've been your hosts. This is just Colin.
Just Mike.
This is Pal Jacob.
Pal Jake. I should have been NTSC Mike. God dang it.
Get
Hit that
back
joke
in
twice.
years sphere,
Yeah.
Jacob.
Get in your pal sphere. We're done here. Once we're done, you want
to
back in
work
that
at
sphere.
the mines.
The
pal
meme mines. The
Yeah.
pal mines. Yep. All right, Normies.
All right,
Take it easy.
Normies.
Catch you next time.
See ya.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.